Hello, world. It is really early in the morning, and I was just responding to one of my listeners, and I just came across this new episode from this particular creator who I definitely need to call out. I don't call these people out to be a dick. This is not entertainment for me. This is about truth and justice. Now, I have tried contacting Aussie Insider several times, and the very first interaction where I was beyond respectful, she literally snapped back as if I said something of which she needed to personally defend, which I did not. I literally just asked her if she would be open to having a conversation with me about the facts, given that I have a contrarian viewpoint. And I don't remember her exact response, but it was something to the effect of physics and science. If you want to talk about physics and science, I don't have time. Listen to physics and science. It was just, this is an adult woman who is clearly intelligent based on the way she speaks, the way she converses with people. I don't know if she is a conspiracy theorist. I don't know if she has some personal need to find a place in the world. I don't know her personal life. I don't know if she is grifting. Now, allow me to be clear. Grifting, in my mind, is knowingly putting out false information to get viewers, to basically build a brand, get viewers, get memberships, get watch time, get super chats, get donations, get memberships, all of the things on YouTube. It's basically fraud. Okay? In a word, grifting is fraud. It really is criminal. And I truly hope that YouTube and the legal system find a way to combat this erosive, disgusting behavior that has become the commonplace on YouTube. To find an honest creator with integrity who puts out facts just for the sake of their own personal passion, their own personal integrity, their own personal pursuit of truth and justice, it's difficult. For every one of us, there's a billion grifters. And trust me when I tell you, I did not come to YouTube I didn't even plan on coming to YouTube. Okay? I got sucked in, and I cannot keep my mouth shut about what I see because it's beyond criminal, it's beyond disgusting, and it is just, there are no words that are strong enough to express the absolute disgust that I feel that is happening in Canton, Massachusetts, and around the world, quite frankly, with the case for Officer John O'Keefe's murder and his murderer, Karen Read. And yes, I am going to say his murderer because it has been proven that she is guilty to me. The facts are there. They're irrefutable. And she is guilty. Now, she has not been found guilty in the court of law. There will be a second trial. And if there is a God, she will go to prison for the rest of her natural life. She has tried to corrode the American justice system in ways that are unprecedented. So all y'all that are attracted to conspiracies, corruption, and drama, hang on to your hats, because it's here. It is in this case, but it is not where Alan Jackson and David Yanetti and Karen Read and Josh Levy and Aiden Kearney and Melanie Little and Will the Glare and Mike Crawford of the Young Jerks and I know I'm missing some. I'm missing many. There are tons of creators, including Aussie Insider and Miss Shorty, that are a part of this actual criminal behavior. Now, the American justice system needs to catch up to what's going on in the world of technology and YouTube and putting out bold-faced lies, trying to perverse the course of justice. Because this is criminal. It is fraud. They are raising money. I can't even imagine how much money people have made in the name of Officer John O'Keefe and in the fraudulent scheme of raising money for his murderer's defense. Meanwhile, they are all rolling in the dough. Now, I don't know if Aussie Insider and Miss Shorty know that they are putting out lies, but I don't know how they couldn't at this point, because they seem to be intelligent people. And unless they have a mental illness of their own, or they simply have not actually read court documents and looked at the facts of the case, because they don't give a shit about the truth. They hear corruption and they feel the need to hop on board without actually doing their homework. But taking the word of a blogger who is literally getting fed information from the defendant herself and her criminal defense attorneys. And yes, that can be proven, and it is in court documents that you can write a request, a FOIA request, Freedom of Information Act, to Canton, the police department, and the state police. There's still discovery coming in for Aiden's case, and there's still discovery coming in for Karen's case. So I don't know what new information is available, but based on the information that was available for the first trial, it proves Karen Read is guilty of second-degree murder, leaving the scene of a crime, and operating while intoxicated, manslaughter, whatever the other top third charge was. I can't remember. It proves it, okay? Now, it has not been proven in a court of law. I get that. It was a one-man show against 3 high-powered attorneys and the whole internet and all of these creators who are in on this crap, who are, if not getting paid directly, they are definitely getting paid indirectly through YouTube, through donations, through super chats, through all of the ways on YouTube that they are making money. I am not monetized. I do not want your money. I am here to offer facts, and I am here to expose the truth. Josh Levy, you owe the O'Keefe family, and quite frankly, all of the American people, the truth. It is now your responsibility to tell the truth. Whether you're going to own your own culpability and accountability within this tragic case, I highly doubt, because you have not shown any integrity thus far. You are not ordered by law to not comment on the federal investigation. You got your dirty little hands in on this case. You yourself questioned this grand jury, made up of all these state witnesses who have been victimized and harassed by Aiden Kearney, Karen Read, her attorneys, and all of the creators and people in that community and around the world that have been contributing to this fucking disgusting, vitriolic hatred and terrorization of these people's lives. You owe it. You owe the O'Keefes the truth. And quite frankly, you owe all of the American people the truth. Because Josh Levy, you are still perverting the course of justice if you don't come out with the truth. This case got my attention when I saw District Attorney Morrissey's appeal to the public. And yes, it was the first time I have ever seen anything like that. I totally thought there was corruption. I went into this trial thinking there was corruption, thinking that Karen Read was factually innocent. If you don't believe me, please listen to the very first podcast that I created. The only reason that you hear my voice right now is because I could not keep my mouth shut when I saw what was happening. I literally fight every day from driving my own ass to Massachusetts, to Josh Levy's office, to camp outside his office and make sure that he gives the facts. This federal investigation has been over since March, before Karen's first trial. When the feds gave all of the TUI documents, the 3,000 and some pages of their final report, that was the end of the federal investigation. DA Morrissey did not come out with that statement. I have learned since I first witnessed that. He did not come out with that statement lightly. He had approval to come out with that statement. It had been gone over by justices above him. It was legal. It was the right thing to do. He was watching his own justice system, his own government be corrupted around him in front of his eyes, folks. And he could not figure out what in the hell was going on. He requested information from Josh Levy. Josh Levy was a dick. He was more than a dick. He was a criminal. And I really hope that his feet are held to the fire for this, because without his involvement, none of this conspiracy could have stood. It is so fucking transparent, folks. Karen Read is not being set up. Nobody gives a shit enough about one woman to go through all of this trouble and all of this expense to frame an innocent woman. It is ridiculous. Josh Levy, you are not bound by the law to keep your mouth shut when a federal investigation is over. You typically don't. The government typically does not. And do you want to know why? American people and beyond? The reason is because if a federal investigation takes a case before a grand jury and they do not get an indictment, they do not come out and tell the American people that they had a grand jury, because even the knowledge of knowing that whatever person that they're trying to get indicted was possibly going to get indicted for a crime will ruin that person. It will ruin them. That is why the feds and the government do not come out and talk about grand juries or indictments or when they're investigating. That is why they don't do that. In this case, it is your responsibility and it is your moral and ethical obligation, Josh Levy, to tell the truth. Even if you don't do it to the American people, you need to at least tell the O'Keefes. But quite honestly, if you don't tell the American people, then you are still perverting the course of justice. Because all of these assholes on YouTube that are still spinning this freaking conspiracy theory are still talking about the feds being involved. If you want to shut that shit down, if you give a shit about finding justice for Officer John O'Keefe, then you will do the right thing. And you will make an announcement that this investigation has been over since March. Both the Commonwealth and the defense have all of the information that the federal investigation discovered in their 3,000 and some pages that they were given in March. Please hold U.S. Attorney Josh Levy accountable for his actions. Now, this particular creator, I have tried reaching out to her just like I did with all of these creators at the beginning of the trial. Again, listen to my first podcast. I reached out to all of them and I tried to speak with them respectfully. I literally said, basically to each one, I would say, are you willing to have a conversation with me, even if it's not on your live? It doesn't have to be on screen. We can do it privately. I would just like to have a conversation with you about the facts of the case and how you perceive them and how I perceive them, and have a respectful conversation, which in this case, clearly, these adults don't know how to do. And when you have this much hatred against people that you don't know, you have to wonder why. You have to wonder why all of the adults involved in this idea that Karen Read is being framed, why are they unwilling to have respectful, honest conversations with intellectual people who have a different viewpoint? The only reason that I can come up with is that they know that they are lying, and they know that if they talk to somebody with a contrarian opinion, they will be exposed for the frauds that they are. I truly hope that the O'Keefes have civil attorneys that are going to depose all of these asshole creators. Attorney Melanie Little, Mike Crawford, I know Sean McDonough is right there. I'm hoping he, is willing to be deposed. Obviously, Aiden Kearney, LTL Bryan. There are lots more that continue to bank off of this tragedy, continue to make jokes about this tragedy, continue to terrorize the lives of these families, children, young adults, professionals, destroy relationships, destroy careers, destroy reputations over and over again. They are all contributing to this actual factual corruption, which is on the side of the defense and which also includes U.S. Attorney Josh Levy, who sat and grilled these state witnesses with information that Aiden Kearney, Turtle Boy, was literally fed by Karen Read and her criminal attorneys. That is illegal. And it is obviously unethical. And I truly hope that these attorneys not only lose their licenses to practice law, but go to prison along with Aiden Kearney and Karen Read and whoever else they can expose. And there are a lot of them, a lot of creators that know that they are lying, that know that they are pushing out complete lies. This is Mafia, mob-like behavior. This is what RICO charges were created to take down. When Turtle Boy got arrested and went to jail, he fraudulently had a person listed as an attorney that was not an attorney, that was part of his freaking FKR people, that he was then able to have conversations with that were not recorded because they were told that it was his attorney, which is fraud, which is against the law. And Bradel, I didn't know. It was a mistake. Who the fuck believes that that was a mistake? Every single person on the FKR side, Melanie Little, Aussie Insider, Miss Shorty, Will, Glare, LTL, all these people, if somebody on this side did a mistake like that, like, oh my God, there was an inverted video. Oh, we're still hearing about this inverted video because that's how technology works. That's how that camera works. And because for whatever reason they have an old system and they couldn't get this evidence for the longest time. Apparently they finally got it off of their extremely dinosaur old technology from the Sally port during the middle of the trial, which is when it was put into evidence, and then it was inverted, which everybody thought was some sort of corruption and evidence of all of these crooked people. All of you assholes that have podcasts know that technology can be inverted very easily. I have seen many creators begin their stream and literally say on their stream, why is my camera inverted? Oh, this is so weird. I can't figure it out. It happens. I don't know why, but it's certainly not corruption. And then Michael Proctor is by the taillight. You want to know what, folks? Michael Proctor was investigating a hit and run. Where in the actual fuck do you think that Michael Proctor should have been looking? Because the evidence was Karen Read's vehicle. It was Karen Read's taillight. So if he happened to be looking at it, that is where he should have been looking. You want to call everybody and every person in this whole entire thing corrupt and fraudulent. I get that there's corruption in Massachusetts and it needs to be rooted out. Go for it. Do it. But at least have the dignity and the self-respect to own the fact that you have been either duped or you have been knowingly participating in this corruption through your YouTube channels. Because I hope all you assholes that are putting out disinformation, Melanie Little, LTL, Young Jerks, all of the other people that I said and many more, I hope that you are arrested. And I hope that O'Keefe's are going to have you deposed for their civil lawsuit. And all of that information will come into the criminal trial if they depose you before the second trial. I don't think they'll need it, but it'll sure be interesting, and hopefully more of you will be indicted because what you are doing is criminal. And beyond the fact that it's criminal, it should fucking hurt your heart to be knowingly doing what you're doing. Many of you have families and children, and you are a role model. You are in positions of power because of your job or your previous job of being a lawyer, a cop, some sort of law enforcement, some sort of rescue people, some sort of DEA or fire and rescue or medical people. How can you do this? How can you knowingly be terrorizing these families? How can you knowingly be poking fun at these victims? You are killing John O'Keefe over and over and over again. And it is very clear to me at this point that Officer John O'Keefe, if he was going to make the decision, he sure seems to be the kind of guy that would be like, you know what, guys, don't stress over this. Please just go about and live your lives and be happy. Don't worry about me. I'm good. But he sees the devastation that has happened and is continuing to happen to the people that he loves. And he will not allow this miscarriage of justice to continue. It is my firm belief, because of my spirituality, that he is very much a part of this. So Karen Read, you want to talk to your paid off, stupid Vanity Fair journalist who should be ashamed of herself, who did not report facts, who needs to make many corrections, and or Vanity Fair needs to fire this journalist and apologize for that article and redact it, because it's all a bunch of bullshit, and Karen Read herself likely wrote it, if not dictated to her, this journalist who's pregnant and living with an accused murderer for 3 days. That is not journalism. That is a slumber party that you have when you are 10 years old. Not when you are a fully grown adult with an adult brain, with a child in your stomach, with a professional career. You're going to throw it all down. Same thing with her attorneys. They literally have committed criminal acts. They are literally the ones involved in the conspiracy and in the corruption. These people fed Turtle Boy information. Turtle Boy reported information that came straight from Karen Read, David Yanetti, and Alan Jackson. Then, after Turtle Boy reported it, Karen Read and her attorneys walk into court. This is all the pretrial stuff. They walk into court and they reference Aiden Kearney, Turtle Boy's news as if it's facts and it was reported and that it's factual. That is fraud, and it is criminal, and it is, with everything that they've done, they are part of this witness intimidation conspiracy. They are knowingly hurting every single person in that community in one way or the other. And then you add on the family and loved ones of John O'Keefe and the state's witnesses and their families. Jobs have been lost. College careers have been lost. Scholarships have been lost. Mental health has been lost. Relationships have been lost because these high-powered people in power are devastatingly using their power for their own selfish desires, wants, needs. And it makes me physically fucking sick, and it should make all of you sick. All of you. And if you are participating in this, I beg of you to please stop, and I beg of the O'Keefe family to please tell your civil attorneys to make sure that they subpoena every single one of these creators that are involved in this, because at least 95% of them know that they're doing it, know what they're doing, and they continue to do it anyway. And if they don't have the self-respect to know that their own conscience, if you can live with that, then I don't want to know you. But beyond that, you certainly need to be held accountable. Whether it's criminal or civil, you need to be held accountable. They have raised probably millions of dollars on their loved one's name to defend his murderer. They're using the victim's name to raise money for his murderer. It's fucking disgusting. And it is a travesty of justice. And I hope that our American justice system recognizes this innocence fraud campaign, the first one in American history that has happened in real time that I'm aware of, that has happened both pre-trial and in real time during the first trial. These are usually campaigns that happen well after a person is convicted. This is what many of the Innocence Project cases are innocence fraud, and the only way you'll know is if you were alive when the actual case went to trial, like Scott Peterson, who the Innocence Project thinks that they should get out of prison. If you were alive during that trial, and you don't think that Scott Peterson is guilty, please leave me a comment below, because I would be very curious to know if there are any people out there that actually believe that that man is innocent if they were alive during his trial, because I don't think so. And that is a prime example of the shit that the Innocence Project does. I'm not saying that there aren't innocent people in prisons and jails. I myself have spent time in jail for a crime I did not commit. Several months, in fact, and it sucked. But I had to put on my big girl pants, and I had to get through it and work my way out of the system and prove my innocence. I was factually innocent, and I had to prove it. That's unfortunately the way that it works. If you are factually innocent, even though we are supposed to have the presumption of innocence, that's not the way it works. You have to prove it. So prove it, Karen. You can't. I have read the court documents. I have seen the facts come out in court. You have not been proven guilty in a court of law. I get that. But you don't get my presumption of innocence anymore, because I have looked at the facts, and the Commonwealth has proven to me beyond all doubt that you are factually guilty of all 3 top charges. And I'm so sick and tired of hearing people say that she was overcharged. You tell me, folks, have you ever in your life accidentally went 24 miles an hour in reverse ever? Have you ever on purpose went 24 miles an hour in reverse? Vinnie Politan wouldn't even do it. He went to go do the demonstration, and he wouldn't or couldn't do it because it's too dangerous. So he went however fast he went, and then multiplied it times whatever he needed to get the percentage of 24 miles per hour, and played it at that speed for his viewers. Turtle Boy tried, said he couldn't. Y'all tell me if you've ever, even on purpose or by accident, been driving your car in a forward direction, slammed it into reverse, put your foot on the gas at 75% of acceleration, had a vehicle that had safety features up the yin-yang, a Lexus, bells and whistles going off, anti-lock brakes. During this 10-second key cycle, the brakes were not ever manually pushed, and her vehicle would have gotten up to 24 miles per hour within 5 to 6 seconds, and the key cycle is 10-second snapshot. So she had time to push the brakes. She did not. Her vehicle would have been telling her, beeping at her every which way but loose, that she was in danger of hitting something, or in this case, someone. Y'all, any one of you out there that think that that's even a possibility, do an experiment, go somewhere safe in the country, an abandoned parking lot, put something in your way 62 feet behind you, garbage can or something that's not going to destroy your vehicle, and do your own experiment. Tell me what you think. Leave it in my comments. Do you think it's possible to do that shit by accident? Do ya? It's not possible. Now, there are many other pieces of circumstantial evidence, like her freaking hatred in her voicemails that she started calling him before she even got back to John's house. She was calling him, leaving him hate mail, accusing him of cheating on her, and that nobody knew where he was. She just dropped him off. She knew where he was. And unless he's the type of guy that walks into a party and drops his pants and starts banging the first thing he sees, I highly doubt he'd be cheating on her before she drives the 6 minutes that it took her to get back to John's house. That is psychotic brains at work there. You cannot rationalize it. You cannot make sense of psychosis. So stop trying to. Stop trying to legitimize her defense and say, well, if she was really innocent, don't you think she would have left messages that were sweet and loving? Sure. But read Karen Read. Can you? Because that woman has no ability to actually read the room. She has no ability to actually understand normal human behavior. She has no ability to sit in a courtroom where she is on trial for the murder of somebody that she was in a 2-year-long relationship and not flirt with her attorneys and not giggle and laugh when the officers are showing John's blood-soaked clothing. So all y'all that don't know where his blood went, it's in his fucking clothing. I think it was Sergeant Buchanan that actually was on the stand showing this evidence. Watch Karen. Look at how she acts. They factually have disproven every freaking conspiracy. The 227 folks, oh my God. Oh my God. The top consultant at Celebrate got on the stand and told y'all what happened. That call did not happen. He explained how the mistake was made, why the mistake was made, and what he did to actually rewrite that program to prevent any similar mistakes from happening in the court of law. If you trust Celebrate, and yet you say that the Celebrate expert, Ian Whiffen, as well as Jessica Hyde, who is beyond credible as well, I mean, look at her freaking experience and her CV. 2 of the top people, dare I say, in the world that could testify disproved that bullshit fact. And that is what the whole conspiracy was built on. Jen McCabe is a mother and a wife. And yes, she owns her power. She was not going to let Jackson drag her through the mud and play with her words and gaslight her. For the casual viewer who didn't know what was actually happening and didn't take the time to investigate why Jen McCabe was so defensive on the stand, then that's on you. Because if you actually want truth and justice, you seek answers. You find out why she was like that. She was like that because her family and her children and her husband and everyone that she cares and loves have been terrorized and victimized for the last 3 years because of this ridiculous innocence fraud campaign put out by Karen Read herself, all of these YouTubers, her criminal defense attorneys, and this freaking turtle boy Aiden Kearney. Nobody gives a shit about any of these people enough to go through all of the work of conspiring against these people. Turtle Boy is not a likable character, but nobody hates him enough to go through all of this effort to everybody that turns on Karen does it because they suddenly just hate Turtle Boy? Is that logical to you? Is that adult mentality to any of you? Use your common sense. Now, I'm going to call out this creator publicly. I don't do this to be a dick, but I do it because it is the right thing to do. I have become extremely passionate about advocating for all of the people involved in this, all of their rights. And Michael Proctor, a message to you. Hopefully somebody gets this. Hopefully you already have this in action, but you need to be pursuing civil lawsuits against Alan Jackson, David Yanetti, Josh Levy, Aiden Kearney, the Reeds, anybody else that's a part of this bullshit. I truly, truly hope that you have lawsuits that you are going to file if you haven't already. Because your civil rights were so violated. Your personal and professional life has been destroyed. And I see it. And I stand with you. And I will do anything that I possibly can to help you. And I think that any person with the integrity and the self-respect and any sort of activism in their blood would do the same. Yes, his texts were unprofessional, but this woman fucking ran into her boyfriend and left him to die in the cold by himself in the middle of the night in what turned out to be the worst nor'easter of history in that area, from what I understand. And she went to his house like a burglar in the night and plotted how she was going to avoid accountability for her actions. She had 6 hours to get this man help. She did not. She covered her own ass. And then she took Carrie Roberts and Jen McCabe to be her next victims to bring her back to the scene of the crime, so she had witnesses for her ridiculous, dramatic acting. It is my very strong, unprofessional, but very lot of life experience opinion that this woman is psychotic, Karen Read, and she is dangerous. And if you don't take the time to get off social media, clear your head, spend some time in nature, take a fresh look with a fresh perspective at the facts in this case, then you deserve everything that comes your way. Because I cannot believe that any intellectually honest person can look at the facts and not come to the conclusion that this woman is not only psychopathic, is not only dangerous, is not only guilty, but I don't want her near anybody that I love. And I don't think you should either. I don't understand why people want to free criminals, murderers. It happens over and over and over in America. And trust me, I have a bleeding heart. And I have been tricked by these innocence frauds campaigns myself. The latest one being the Making of a Murderer Avery guy. Totally fell for that hook, line, and sinker. The man is a menace. Wanted to go and free that man from prison. And look at what he did. I don't care if you think she's not going to kill again. She may not. But she is dangerous. She has created that area of Canton is on the verge of riots, people. It is just literally a trigger hair away from riots. Because she won't take accountability for her actions. And for some reason, all of these crazy people that don't want to take the time to actually read court documents and look into the facts and use their common sense and question things and ask questions and act with integrity, dignity, and honor, seek truth and factual justice, they have incited this ridiculous atmosphere of cheerleading and skits and tailgating outside the courthouse at a murder trial. Standouts all over the world for a murder defendant. What in the hell are we doing, people? Do you want your children to be taught by a murderer, live next door to a murderer, possibly date a murderer? Because that's what you will do if you actually put this woman back on the streets. And before you fight for anybody to get out of prison because you believe they are innocent, please FOIA the actual court documents and do the proper due diligence and research before you get involved in that activism. I am all for that activism, but please, you need to do the research. Media is spun. Our freaking mainstream media is at its all-time low. The way that so many, especially Canton Confidential, but almost nearly all of the mainstream media played right into this bullshit conspiracy while the trial was going on. Why? Power, politics, and money. That is why everybody that is involved in this actual corruption on the side of the defense is involved in the corruption, because they are getting something out of it. It is their own greed. It is their own need for personal whatever. If it's power, money, prestige, politics, those are the reasons. Why would John O'Keefe's family and the people that he loved not want to hold his actual murderer or murderers accountable? You have got to be out of your mind. I have asked the American people to literally put yourself in their shoes. Would you just believe whatever the district attorney tells you? Would you just believe whatever the actual murder defendant tells you? Or would you do your own research if you lost a family member or a friend to a whatever you want to call this, which I choose to call a murder? I'm going to make damn sure that the right person goes to prison. And any of you that still think that his family are somehow involved or knowingly covering up for his actual murderers, you literally need to get mental help. And I'm not saying that to be rude. I am not saying that for any other reason than if you actually believe that, you literally need to deprogram, because you have been brainwashed and you need help. You will be harmed. You may never recover from this kind of shit. Now, before I play this video that Aussie made, I'm going to read you some of the comments that I have left on her page, as well as all of these other creators that I mentioned. I left them on their pages when I was first watching the trial and before I actually made any definitive conclusions in my mind. And even on my podcast, which has turned out to be because of this case. I did not have a YouTube channel for any other reason than watching this travesty happen and feeling so helpless and wanting to help the McCabes, the Alberts, the Proctors, the Roberts, and obviously the O'Keefes. And I am helpless in the government right now. Like I'm watching the media. I'm watching government officials. I'm watching criminal defense attorneys literally take criminal acts right in front of our eyes, and they just keep doing it. And nobody calls them out on their shit. Please research mainstream media. What is actually happening here? Why don't you root out the real corruption? Why don't you find out what's been going on with all the money that they have been raising with regard to Karen Read and John O'Keefe? All of these GoFundMes and donos and YouTubes and all of this shit, where is it going? This is literally mafia behavior. This is literally mob behavior. And what law was enacted to take down a mob? RICO. This is literally why it is they enacted RICO. So I hope that the people in power are looking at this. They depose all of these creators that are participating in this shit, and all of the people that are participating in this shit, and they hold everybody accountable that is part of this conspiracy, corruption, and fraud on not only the American justice system, but on their own community, many of them. With no regard for factual truth and factual justice and factual victims. Karen Read is not a fucking victim. Her and her defense team are gaslight professionals. So I'm going to read some of these just because I want everybody to know. Because what happened when I first started following this case was I was literally, watching court TV, and then I found all these different channels that had their own commentary, and I listened to several of them and got all sides like I do, because that's how intelligent people research. Found court documents, got facts, started to understand the psychology of it all. And again, if you go back to the beginning of my series during this case, which is all that's really on my YouTube page, it'll show you my progression, my own psychology of how I arrived here. I did not come to this point lightly, easily, or quickly. In fact, I give Karen Read a lot of credit, a lot of compassion, and a lot of room for possibilities. I came in expecting to find corruption, expecting her to be factually innocent. And yeah, you know what, folks? She has pushed factually innocent. All y'all chant factually innocent for so long. Are you going to hold her feet to the fire? Spirit. I was punching my bed. That's my big boy, one of my big boy fur babies. That's a bark. He thought the noise I was making was a threat. Okay, hopefully he's good now. De-escalation. Totally lost my train of thought though. Oh shit. Let me think. I totally lost my train of thought. So, I'm going to go ahead and read these not court documents. I was talking about court documents, I think. That might be what I was talking about. Get court documents, folks. FOIA this shit. It is your responsibility. If you are going to take a stance, it is your civil duty to put in the time to research it. Otherwise, keep your freaking mouth shut. Ask questions. Don't make declarations. I am not declaring this shit lightly, and I am not afraid of being sued because the facts are in evidence. You get the court documents of Aiden Kearney's criminal offenses that he is awaiting trial for, and Karen Read's. Everything that I've said, unless I've said it's my opinion, like it is my very strong opinion that both Karen and Turtle Boy are psychopathic people, which is why they are attracted to each other. We tend to attract like-minded people, okay? Energy attracts energy. That's my opinion. Now, I firmly believe that could be proven, but I don't think anybody wants to prove that at this point, and whatever. It doesn't affect anything other than the fact that she should not be free and living in civil society. She has lost that privilege, which brings me to the next point of why in the hell is the state of Massachusetts still protecting the criminal rights of Aiden Kearney and Karen Read. Karen Read has very specific bail requirements. She's out drinking in public with her defense team, getting her tits grabbed by her defense attorney. Now, getting her tits grabbed is not against the law nor her bail, but I hope that Alan Jackson's wife is packing her bags and getting her children away from that crap. But drinking is not allowed with her bail requirements. She's breaking her bail when she goes out drinking. And it is like, right in public view. Put her ass back in jail. Let her sit there until her trial. She doesn't deserve to be out in public. She has broke her bail. Arrest her. She is part of this conspiracy of witness intimidation. Arrest her ass. What are you waiting for? Aiden Kearney, whatever the hell his name is, he is continuing to terrorize your community. Why are you not protecting your community from this vile creature who does not deserve to live in civil society? These judges are not granting protective orders to his victims. I sat and listened to a judge over and over and over again ask the prosecutor what physical harm his victim at that court hearing was in danger of. And I believe it was Mello. I don't know the prosecutors in Aiden's case perfectly yet, so whichever it was, from the March, I think it was a March 24th hearing that Turtle Boy just aired, the judge kept asking him, what's the physical danger? And the prosecutor kept saying, he is stalking them, this particular victim. He's stalking them. That, if you don't know, is a term that comes from hunting prey. If you stalk, the next step that you take in your criminal actions will be physical harm. If the judges in that area or anywhere don't fucking understand that concept in 2024, nearly 2025, then we need to fucking regroup and make sure that all of our judges are fully aware that if somebody is reporting and has demonstrable proof that they are being stalked, then you need to take action. Enough of this waiting for them to take a victim either by death or serious physical injury. It will happen. In Aiden's case, it is my very personal but very strong opinion that he is a complete pussy and he could not do any physical harm to any of these people involved. Regardless of how much older these people are, these state witnesses, they could kick his ass and wipe the floor with him. The real threat to these state's witnesses is their own mental health and their own threat of losing their own freedom. If you continue to allow this, the same shit is going to happen like he did to Jill Daniels, like he does to Chris Albert. That man shouldn't be in the vicinity of where those people live or work. Because if they continue to have to see his ass and listen to his ass and see what he is doing to people that they love, they are going to lose their shit. That is human reaction. These people have held their shit together better than I ever could hope to do. Jill Daniels lost her shit because she is tired of it. That is normal human emotion. And that judge would not fucking grant her a protective order? Wouldn't grant Chris Albert a protective order against a man standing outside of his place of business telling everybody in the world that he's serving blood pizza and that he and his family and friends murdered Officer John O'Keefe? What the fuck is wrong? Why are you not protecting the people who need your protection? And why are you protecting the criminals? I understand that criminals have civil rights, but what the hell about actual victims and actual people who do abide by civility within their communities? Please, if you want to have standouts and fight for justice, I think those are some pretty good pedestals to fight for, rather than fighting and raising money for a murder defendant. How about calling out criminal actions? How about calling out criminal behavior? How about holding people in power accountable and not allowing rich lawyers and rich attorneys and rich people in power to get away with bullshit that any Tom, Dick, or Harry would never get away with? Because their power goes much further than Tom, Dick, or Harry's anyway. All right, so I keep going off on my tangents. This is supposed to be quick. Clearly, I am incapable of being quick when it comes to this case because I am so passionate about it. But let me read. I'm just going to read through some of these. They're old, so bear with me because I kept them because I knew that I figured I was going to get blocked or ignored or basically spat on social media, which I did. Most of these people literally just blocked me after literally asking them to have a civil conversation with me, but I was on the other side. They just block me. I can't, nobody can see me or hear me. They won't have any discourse on their YouTube channels with anybody that isn't in their echo chamber. If you don't ask yourself why they don't converse with people who have a difference of opinion on somebody's guilt or innocence when you are watching a murder trial, you need to question why. If you don't, then you are not seeking truth. I have asked all of these creators to allow me to talk with them, if not on their platform, then off their platform privately. They won't do it. Why won't they do it? Because they fucking know. And this is how I know that they're grifters. If they were not grifting, if they didn't know that they were putting out false information, there is no reason in the world for them to not have a civil conversation with a respectful person that has a different viewpoint. Kevin has invited them on. I have invited them to talk. This was even before I actually made my channel. I made my channel because none of these assholes would have a conversation with me. So I was tired of not getting my voice heard because nobody seemed to be standing up for the actual victims, except Kevin, Kate, Twisted Elise. Now I've just found Antiquated Rogue, Karen McCormick, Matt Boundless Millennial. There are some really good people that I have found, but the very strong majority are all pushing the nonsense. And when they block me and they refuse to conversate with me and they delete my messages, I know that they are in on the grift. They are doing it to make money. Every penny that you send to them, every hour that you watch of them, every donation that you make to them, they are laughing all the way to the bank. And beyond that, they are disgusting human beings because they know what they're doing and they know how they are affecting the lives of the loved ones of Officer John O'Keefe. All right, so let me read some of these. Okay, I've sent these to Aussie Insider, the 13th Juror, Broken Baker, obviously Melanie Little. All of these, the ones that I've named over and over again, I know are grifting. I think that it could be demonstrably proven if people pursue it, which I hope that they do. But Miss Shorty, I mean, these people in Australia, like, they're intelligent, yet they're pushing out this shit. So do they not know, or do they not know how to actually do research? They are literally taking the information that Turtle Boy put out, whether you got it from him, or you got it from Melanie, or you got it from the 13th Juror, or you got it from Broken Baker, or The Glare, or Mike Crawford, or Sean McDonough, or LTL, wherever you got it, if it is the narrative that Karen Read is innocent and this is all a big conspiracy, it came directly from Karen Read and her criminal attorneys to Turtle Boy and then out to all of these other creators that will attract their own audiences based on their own personalities, who are all pushing the same information that came directly from a murder defendant and her murder defendant fucking attorneys, who should be fucking jailed and disbarred, as well as all of these freaking creators. Okay, so this is one of them. And bear with me, I haven't read these in a while, so I'm just going to try to go through them quickly. If people, so this was specifically what I had to, well, no, this was to a lot of people. Okay. If people who have expert experience, I think this was because I reached out and said, can you conversate with me? And then particularly with Aussie Insider, she was like, physics and science, like everybody in the world is saying about the ARCA guys. You just wait and see. I'll be curious to see if ARCA comes back, because if they have to come back, they will be absolutely criminally responsible if they pull fraud on the court. They were able to get away with the shit that they were able to get away with because they were third party brought in. If they are going to testify for the defense, then they need to be given all of the facts that both the Commonwealth and the defense attorneys have. And if they are going to testify for her, they are going to have to actually do their job, look at the text stream data, do a proper investigation, understand that there are no streetlights at or near the home of the Alberts. There are none. So microdots and all you assholes that keep making videos of what you are trying to push, there's no lights. I don't give a shit how much you want there to be. There are no lights. Okay, they will have to actually consider all of the facts. They will not be able to say, well, we weren't allowed to know any of this. We weren't allowed to know any of this. We were not allowed. And no, it wouldn't change my mind. There is no honest scientist in this world, and fact check me on this. Anybody that you know that's a detective, a forensic analysis, any kind of person that has any kind of scientific or personal integrity, professional integrity, could sit on a stand and say that new evidence that could be provided, that wasn't provided, would not and could not change their mind or provide further hypotheses or theories to arrive. These men sat on the stand and told Adam Lally that none of the evidence of the car data, John's DNA, no dog DNA, the fact that there were no lights, the text stream data, the GPS data, the Apple Health data, none of that would change their mind. None of that. The very important evidence would not change their mind when what they do is accident reconstruction, which inevitably dictates that they must have that information to arrive at any sort of conclusion. They didn't arrive at a conclusion because it was not available based on the information that they were given directly from Josh Levy, directly from the defense attorneys, and they kept Morrissey out of the whole thing, and Morrissey's sitting there going, what in the hell is going on? Why are the feds looking into this investigation? There's no corruption here. You are harassing these people. Leave them alone. And then y'all are now claiming that Morrissey's on burner phones and burner emails. No, he was not. He was rooting out the corruption. He didn't know who he could trust, and damn well right. Because there are people within his own office that are FKR. Dr. Wolf, his wife, was FKR. So it would be a very simple line to connect that he is FKR. And the way that he was defensive and the bullshit that he spewed on that stand and the way he talked about a potato shooter and giggled with Alan Jackson about how cool this potato shooter was with no regard for the human life that was lost in this case. That's disgusting. It is unprofessional. And I certainly hope that his boss fucking read him the riot act, because both of those men did that shit. It's disgusting. I personally found Dr. Wolf even more of a turnoff, but both of them stood up there on that stand, sat up there and said that new evidence, even though right in their report, Adam Lally read it, it says in your report that your opinions are subject to change if you are given new evidence, correct? Yes. Okay, so did you know this? Were you given this? Were you given? Nope. But none of that would change my mind. It wouldn't affect my opinion. Like, what the fuck? If you can't see through that, then you need help. So this was part of my response to Aussie's physics and science, which is applied to pretty much everybody on that side that says physics and science. Okay, so let's read. Let's see. Hold on. I'm sorry. Where did it go? I lost it. Okay. If people who have expert experience, which gives more credibility to their opinions, such as attorneys, retired attorneys, current or former law enforcement, current or former DEA, current or former FBI, current or former emergency and fire department and medical personnel, current and former journalists, current and former anybody that has any professional integrity. When those people create a YouTube channel and push out information, then they need to, there's always going to be people full of shit on YouTube. But if you're going to be a professional person and use your profession as your credibility, then you need to fucking own that. Okay? So if people who have expert experience, which gives more credibility to their opinions, which people will obviously feel much more inclined to trust and believe, come out publicly and make public claims, like the freaking dog expert on Melanie Little's show, who I totally called out in one of my episodes. Go watch that. American Standard K9, I believe it was. Complete and utter bullshit. The ARCA people, obviously. The forensic pathologist that she had on, Scott Morgan. Why can't I think? Scott Morgan. Why can't I think of his first name? He's usually on Court TV and Nancy Grace. Okay, he has he's very professional, very expert. He's seen it, done it. Melanie Little made the mistake of having him on her show, and she was like asking him questions, and he was like, "No, that does not at all appear to be a dog bite, and this is why." So if she has not taken that down, please go watch that. If y'all still believe there's dog DNA, dog attacks. And also, go to the pretrial hearing where David Yanetti stood up in court and Judge Canton asked him if he still wanted to pursue any of this dog nonsense, because they have Chloe's DNA, they have Chloe's address, she is alive, they have her teeth impressions from what I understand, that they could compare to John's wounds. Which anybody who knows anything about dogs knows that that's not fucking dog bites. Okay? That's not difficult. Most not difficult to folks who have experience with dogs, especially German Shepherd and large breed dogs, which I have had my entire adult life. And my entire life I have had dogs. Okay, I can't get through this. I get so pissed. Which people will obviously give more credibility, and people will obviously feel much more inclined to trust and believe, come out publicly and make public claims. The public has every right and honestly ethical responsibility to critique them. If you were the one on the other side of things, for example, if you were being blamed for a murder you did not commit, yet experts were publicly making claims which increased the public perception that you were guilty, you would want the public to hold them accountable and call them out if they are acting or speaking without professional or personal integrity, or in half-truths, trying to protect themselves from any civil liability. You would want that, correct? I have plenty of experience with dogs. This expert, once again, as I previously referred to, did not have any evidence to support his expert claim, nor did the ridiculous hoax of an expert that they had in trial that reached out from California, retired. Rule 17. Y'all will see that play out. I'm not calling her a bad person, but she clearly does not have the knowledge needed to assess the situation properly, and neither did the guy on Melanie Little's show. The only thing that they had to draw any sort of conclusion was a doctored from Dr. Turtleboy himself, an autopsy photo that he was leaked through Karen Read and her defense attorneys. And you know what else? It's illegal. Karen and her lawyers giving that to Turtle Boy to publish, which he also doctored, which the courts also need to get better about figuring out how they can prove and disprove evidence, because Aiden Kearney is constantly making his own evidence. Everybody wants to say that he's got receipts, he's got receipts. You know what? I could make receipts for anything I want to claim. I could make receipts just like he makes receipts. I don't make receipts because I am not in the habit of being fraudulent. I make very bold statements when I have looked and assessed all of the evidence from an intellectual, scientific, analytic point of view. And then I get really passionate when I draw my conclusion because it is based in fact. I am not a person. I am wrong. Okay, I am a person, and I am not always correct, was what I was going to say. I'm not a person who doesn't make mistakes. I am human. I make mistakes. If I make them, I am accountable to them. I would not be coming out making these bold claims if I had one single shred of doubt in any fiber of any of my soul. I would not. I wanted to come out and talk about the Idaho 4 case because I had been following that for almost 2 years when this Karen Read trial started, or a year and a half, and there was nothing of factual evidence coming out. And I just wasn't ready to come out and make any kind of statements until I have more evidence, because the evidence that I've seen in that case makes me want to freaking freak out. But I still am not delusional. I still know that I could not know a lot of the facts. There's a gag order in place. There's the information that's getting out is being leaked. We don't know how much of it's factual. It was very difficult to hold my tongue, but I have. And I started this channel only after, I made one episode the first night of trial, because I thought I need to have this for my own personal. I love psychology. I love learning human behavior. It was like my own case study about my own psychology. I didn't even realize that I was going to, I didn't know what I was in for. I did not expect to be in for what I'm in for now. And as a result of all of the research and the facts, I am making bold statements that are fact-based, factual, evidential, demonstrably proven facts that are in evidence in both Karen and Aiden's case, which do need to be linked. Aiden's case needs to be linked to Karen. It's very, very important that people understand why people are defensive, why these witnesses are acting defensive to her dirty, freaking slimy attorneys who are gaslighting these witnesses who they've been terrorizing for the past 3 years. If the jury understands the full effect of what these families have suffered, then they will understand why Jen McCabe is defensive. She's a mama bear. She's pissed, and she is not going to let her words be distorted. And I am so freaking proud of her. I am rooting her on. But the only reason that I understand that is because I took the time to find out why. When people do things, unless they are psychotic, there is a reason. And even when they are psychotic, there's a reason, although we just can't rationally understand why that reason is if we ourselves are not psychotic, okay? You can't make sense of nonsensical things. But you can try. All right. So anyway, all of this bullshit expert crap that's come out discredits him as an expert. Furthermore, it does diminish his credibility completely and fully. So again, the jurors are the finders of fact. The jurors decide if each and every witness is credible. If they make it past that first hurdle and all 12 jurors find that their testimony is credible, then they decide how much weight to give their testimony. Their testimony is evidence. The reports that are written are not evidence. They are written, police reports, reports from the emergency medical professionals, reports from all of the different experts. They're written so that both sides understand what these people are going to testify to, because that is how the rules of discovery happen, okay? Unless you try to pull a fast one like they did with the dog expert and just conveniently didn't have her write a report, so the Commonwealth had no idea what she was going to testify to, okay? That's why they are supposed to write reports. Those reports are not evidence. The jury cannot refer back to those reports. So stop preaching about police reports not being fully executed as well as a well-written journalist would write a police report. Cops don't do that. I would venture to say the majority of cops do not take the time to write down every single tiny little piece of evidence and adjective and now like everything that needs to be perfected, because they know what happened. Their testimony is the evidence. They record whatever they find necessary. I really need people to understand that. The testimony is the evidence. The testimony is the evidence, not the reports. Which is why you are under penalties of perjury when you take the stand, and you can go to jail if you lie. So if Karen Read wants to tell her truth to everybody in the world, why are you not telling it on the stand, Karen Read? Do you realize how ridiculous you look to human beings with human emotions? You can't fool people that are not like living in your head in some kind of mental derangement. We see through you. And also, you know that you will be completely called out and caught in 59 million lies. So go ahead, take the stand. You want to tell your story to everybody? You got the fucking courtroom to tell your story. If you don't want to do it there, that should speak to people. I realize she has a Fifth Amendment right, but y'all want to say factually innocent. I'll tell you what, if I was factually innocent and I was on trial for my life for murder, I sure the fuck would take the stand. And I sure the hell would not be inviting journalists to spend weekends with me and going out for lavish suppers and spending thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars for my defense attorneys to fly from California, to fly in experts, to pay for the most expensive hotel I can possibly find, spending thousands of dollars on one dress times, I don't know, 500. And all of you that have been duped by this are the ones that have paid for all that shit. While you and your children and your family suffer and go hungry and can't get new clothes for school and all of the other things, you're paying for her to have lavish meals, lavish hotel rooms that she doesn't need to stay in a fucking hotel room. She chooses to, on your dime. I mean, that's your right. That's your prerogative to go and, give her that. But just so you know, that's what you're doing. Okay, so scientists and experts who give unbiased opinions require and demand all evidence needed to actually make an expert opinion. These experts that testified or spoke on Melanie Little's channel have zero evidence except a photo of John's arm, which has been altered. The autopsy photos are not for human consumption, are not for the public consumption. If you were not sitting in that courtroom and able to see the actual photos in that courtroom, then you don't know what those autopsy photos look like. Because anything that you've seen in social media, you can bet your ass that Mr. Fraud Boy himself, Turtle Boy, has doctored it. Dr. Turtle Boy. When these people tell you who they are, listen, please. Look at any other expert witness in any other case where you know in your gut the defendant is guilty. Perhaps it's Scott Peterson. Perhaps it's the Menendez brothers. Perhaps it's Casey Anthony, for example. Okay, compare and contrast the expert testimony offered from both the prosecution and the defense in several of these cases. What conclusions do you draw from these comparisons? Let me know in my comments. And compare them to the experts of the defense and these ridiculous people that Melanie Little has exploited on her podcast, who make these ridiculous claims based on sometimes nothing or very, very little, or if they have something to base it on, it's fraudulent. Okay, I'm asking you these questions. You don't have to believe me, but do your own research. And you know what? You really should FOIA the court documents for both her and Aiden, because they are very intrinsically intertwined. Here are the facts about the ARCA testimony. Please let the ARCA people have all of the relevant information. How about providing them with the following information? Number 1, the Lexus evidence. A, 24 miles per hour in reverse. B, 62 feet in reverse, 20 feet after she hit John. In that 5 to 6 seconds for her to get up to 24 miles per hour, in the 10-second key cycle of that maneuver, she would have had time to hit the brakes. She didn't manually hit the brakes in that 10-second key cycle. She hit what we know to be John. There was all of the evidence of a pedestrian hit at roughly the 62-foot mark at a top speed of 24 miles per hour, as testified to by Trooper Paul, who Alan Jackson completely dehumanized and just wanted to be a frickin' bully to. And yeah, he had trouble communicating his scientific findings because he wasn't used to being attacked when he gave scientific testimony by a freaking defense attorney. So look in the mirror, folks, and stop making fun of people who are doing the right things. Stop bullying people who you don't even know. The steering wheel jerked, the speed slowed down by 0.5 mile per hour. These two things that happened together simultaneously is evidence of a pedestrian strike. It is typical of a pedestrian strike. All the bells and whistles going off in Karen's car. She's fully loaded with bells and whistles. I don't have a Lexus. I have a newer vehicle that I love. And I tell you what, if I'm trying to get over in a lane and there's a car within 20 feet of me, it's beeping at me. Okay, so you bet your ass that her car would be beeping and booping and all these things would be going off. Danger, danger, danger. She paid no mind. She didn't hit the brakes manually. She just was in a blind rage, as a borderline personality trait usually portrays. Okay, they don't have impulse control and they usually have rage issues. The analog brakes. What else? Now they're hopefully going to get a lot more tech stream evidence. Okay, and like I said, I already covered the ARCA people. If they're going to testify again, they're going to have to look at all the evidence. They're not going to be able to get away with cherry-picked evidence from a third-party bullshit. So anybody that's betting on these people winning over, I don't even think, if I were the owner of that company, I wouldn't let them testify again. It's going to ruin their reputation. They are one of the top premier companies for this. I don't know how you can testify for the defense and not ruin your professional reputation. I mean, people do it all the time, so they may, but I would be surprised. We don't know how he hit his head. To this point, my best interpretation of the evidence is that his head was probably hit by Karen's Lexus's spoiler. Okay? There have been people in that community who have the same vehicle Karen has, who have a son or a loved one that is roughly the same height, in one case exactly the same height as John O'Keefe was, and this person sent in a picture, I believe it was to Kevin. I hope I'm correct, because Kevin, if people ask you for this, I hope they're not asking you for something you don't have. Pretty sure it was Kevin that has this picture of a young man who was roughly I think exactly John O'Keefe's height, standing next to the exact model vehicle, and his head is right where that spoiler is. That spoiler looks to be very sharp. Could be sharp. If his head was hit, it could definitely cause serious damage. Let's see, what else? They are getting another expert, so I mean, I cannot, I have full faith in Hank Brennan based on his motions and what he is trying to get into evidence, including past relationship police reports from Karen Read's past relationship domestic violence to show a pattern of behavior, okay? Which is all very important, and I truly hope that the judge tightens up her ship and does not let the defense get away with this shit again. And also, I truly hope that when Karen Read is convicted, because I have full confidence in Hank Brennan getting a conviction, I hope that the judge absolutely sentences her to the highest extent of the law. Because not only did she kill this man, but she has incited actual harassment and terrorization of all of his loved ones and the whole community. It is abhorrent what she and her merry band of ridiculous clowns have done. So please, Judge Canton, do not go easy on this lady. I know your defense. I know you are a public defender. I get that you lean defense. Clearly, the people on the FKR side can't even see how pro-defense you are because they think that you're corrupt as well, which is laughable. So if they're going to call you corrupt, you might as well tighten up your ship and do things a little bit more fair to the Commonwealth. Let her go to prison and let her have her appeals. She's obviously going to appeal no matter what. So, you know, do your job, get your conviction, and let her go through her appeals while she's in prison. Let's see. Sorry. The ARCA experts obviously know that his injuries were rare. Okay, so nobody said he hit his head on the taillight. The state's theory is a sideswipe, which ARCA obviously knows is rare, meaning pedestrian strikes of vehicles traveling in reverse, especially at speeds of 24 miles per hour with 75% of the accelerator pushed down without even pushing the brakes. I challenge you to find me a case study of any other case that you can find testimony that this happened. It is rare. I would make a bet that you can't. Okay? But if you can, please message me, leave it in my comments. I'm curious. The ARCA experts know that this type of pedestrian strike is extremely rare and would obviously cause unusual or atypical injuries. Not many people use a vehicle as a murder weapon, and even fewer driving in reverse at speeds of 24 miles per hour. John's DNA was found on, I would have to listen to the testimony. I thought they said taillight housing, inside the taillight housing, but I've had listeners tell me that it was not inside the housing. It was on the taillight pieces. I don't know which, but his DNA was on the taillight. And no, it's not because Karen Read was dating him. It's because his body made direct contact with her vehicle. His hair was scientifically proven through DNA and mitochondrial DNA that it is John 99.97% or something to be John O'Keefe, excluding basically, the majority of humankind, but John O'Keefe. That hair on Karen's bumper, which anybody that follows true crime knows that guilty people leak out truths. She literally said in an interview she did not hurt a hair on John O'Keefe's head. That is an interesting Freudian slip, given the fact that one of John O'Keefe's hair was found on her vehicle. Is it a little bit of a miracle that was found? Yeah, it is. Because, yeah, that vehicle did make a lot of travel, okay? But for those of you that can't believe that could happen, there's a thing called ice, okay? Things freeze, and then they are frozen to the object that they freeze to. Unless and until the temperature rises to the point where that ice melts, whatever was frozen, whatever object or thing was frozen to that other object or thing is going to remain on that object or thing. In this case, John O'Keefe's hair was frozen onto Karen Read's bumper. They towed it to the Sallyport in blizzard conditions where there was ice and snow all over her car. There are photographs of this in evidence with her broken taillight also showing. That photograph is also in evidence and was shown in Adam Lally's closing argument if you need to see that again. There is a picture of I believe it was 8 o'clock welfare check of the police department that went to check on John O'Keefe's niece and nephew. I think it was just the niece that was home, but he was going as a welfare check because nobody was home with her, and Karen terrorized her by screaming that John was dead, and then everybody leaves and she's all there by herself. You wonder why she's on that frickin' civil suit, Attorney Melanie Little? You asshole. You want to bet? Do you really think that it is in your best interest as a person who claims to be a victim's advocate, is saying that this victim is not a victim, should not be part of the civil case, is brainwashed by her family to believe something that is not true about the death of her third parental figure that she has lost in her young life? You fucking asshole. Now, I don't know any of these people personally, but I imagine that there was some serious PTSD, some serious emotional damage that was done in those hours, even in that whatever was going on when Karen woke her up and was screaming and on the phone and just like going off, and then she's left alone to sit there and be like, what in the actual hell? Like, that is why she is on the civil case. The nephew wasn't there, and the nephew didn't see John O'Keefe. That is why he is not on there. Not that he's not a victim, but the civil attorneys know that better than I on who to put on there. And I assume that because he wasn't at the home that morning and he didn't have to see John O'Keefe in the condition that he was in, like his parents and his brother and his sister-in-law and all of the people that went to the hospital. Okay, those are people that can file the civil lawsuit for the damage, emotional damage caused. Okay, moving on. I could go on and on And then I say to these people, why don't you invite me on your show to have a respectful conversation from a contrarian viewpoint? Prove that you're willing to have intellectual discourse outside of an echo chamber. I went into this trial believing she was innocent. Now I have facts, not spun innocence fraud campaign, PR, bullshit, spun ideas. And I don't play that game of politics, power, and money. I play that game of being a good human and standing up for what is right. Betterow, YouTube's favorite awful attorney, oh my God, he's now on the team of Aiden Kearney after he has been on YouTube incessantly. Early on, when this trial first started, I was listening to the Young Jerks, and Betterow asked on the Young Jerks, asked Mike that night that I was in the audience, whatever. He asked Mike if he had ever had conversations with anyone who went in thinking that Karen Read was innocent and came out thinking she was guilty. Because they all say that, you know, if you're not crazy and if you're a smart person, you're going to see that she's innocent. Okay, the people that are intelligent and know how to weigh evidence are the people that know that she's guilty. The people that were out having a tailgate party, having a cheerleading costume, having a fucking whatever kind of pep rally bullshit outside of that courthouse while Karen Read was inside of that courthouse on trial for murder of her 2-year-long boyfriend, who has a niece and nephew who she was helping to raise, who she cut off communication with immediately after she murdered John. And no, she did not have the protective order against her until 3 or 4 days later. She literally asked Paul O'Keefe to come over to talk to the kids. She did not talk to the kids. She sat with Paul while Paul talked to the nephew, and then she immediately went up to the bedroom upstairs, John's bedroom, with her father, and more than likely, I mean, all signs point to, she is the person that erased the freaking ring video. It's not rocket science. This is not, I mean, it's pretty easy deduction here. Nobody else would have any reason to erase that footage. Oh, what I would give to see what she erased. And then she left. And she never spoke to them again. And she was not arrested for 3 or 4 days. She had every legal right to stay in communication with them. And for people who say that leaving because she thought that Peggy O'Keefe was blaming her, I say to them, again, put yourself in that situation. If you were in a relationship for 2 years, raising basically children, okay? I mean, well, they are children, but you're basically raising these children with this person who I would assume I have never spent 2 years of my life in any relationship if I did not love that person. What the fuck would I be wasting my time for? Why would I dedicate my life to a person that I don't love? Okay? So this is another reason why I clearly think that she's clearly a psychopath. She told Matt Johnson of Court TV that she didn't say she didn't love John, but John said, well, you must have loved him. And she looked at him and smiled and said, we were just dating. So basically, that's her way of saying, no, I didn't love him. Okay? That's psychopathic. It's psychopathic to not have any kind of emotion, to say, that you were in a relationship with this man. Let's say she was factually innocent. Let's say, okay, I'm going to put myself in that situation. I'm thinking of my mother-in-law losing her son, my husband, whom I love, and whom I may be arrested for because I look guilty. I'm factually innocent, but his mother is pissed at me, blaming me, giving me attitude on the day that she goes to the hospital and her son is declared dead. Now, if I'm interpreting that she's blaming me, that is called what is the word I'm looking for? My brain stops working. Projection. She knows she's fucking guilty. Okay? Let's just, for the sake of argument, say that Peggy was literally calling her out, which, you know, whatever. There's a lot of different things of what happened. But I, myself, would take it because I would understand that my husband's mother is grieving. And I understand that families love each other through that shit. And families love each other. And because we love each other so much, we get the brunt of all of their anger. And we do it to the people we love. So if we don't have enough compassion in our hearts, I mean, I would let my mother-in-law beat the living shit out of me if it would make her feel better. I would be grieving too, absolutely. I may say, I love you all. I need to go fucking cry upstairs by myself. I hope you can understand. I need to go. I can't imagine leaving them. I can't imagine asking to come over to comfort the kids, not even comforting the kids, not even talking to the kids, leaving, grabbing the car in the middle of a blizzard, having to try to get it out of frickin' 3 feet of snow. Like, what is the importance? That is clear, guilty conscience, circumstantial evidence, folks. That's what that is. Okay, so anyways, Betterow asked Mike if there was anybody. Okay, I went into the chat, which I don't spend time in chats. I think I like to have intellectual conversations, and I can't have intellectual conversations in a chat room. So if I'm not on a podcast or in human communication with somebody, it's a rare thing that I'm going to go in a chat room. But I was going in the chat rooms of all of these creators because I was giving them this message, like, please talk to me. Entertain this idea that, you know, she could be guilty. Let's have an intellectual conversation about it. None of them would. I was messaging Mike over and over and over and over again. Betterow didn't have the ability to see that chat, I don't think, at that time. I don't think this was very new, so I don't know if he was in the chat rooms watching the chat because he was at his own home. I think he probably is now because he knows exactly what he's doing and he knows exactly what the truth is. But anyway, I don't think he was then. I don't think that Betterow knew that I was saying, pick me, let me talk. And Mike just timed me out, blocked me. And I've been permanently blocked from all of these people's. I can't even leave comments. Every time I write a comment, again, respectfully, just what I'm reading you is how I talk, how I write to them. Okay, this is as respectful as you can get. And they block me. Why? Because they know the truth. So Mike knows that I am a person that went in innocent, came out guilty, but refuses to let me speak respectfully and ask respectful questions. Why is that, I wonder? I am not a troll. In fact, there's even a part of me that feels empathy for Karen. I don't know that I do anymore. It's really hard to give that woman grace at this point, but I didn't realize the extent of her psychopathy at this point. Okay, at this point, I still had empathy for Karen. But with her behavior afterwards, it's difficult to give her much grace. Regardless of either side of the case, the man she spent 2 years of her life with is no longer on this planet. I just don't understand how she doesn't find humility in that. If I were wrongfully accused of killing my man, yes, I would be upset, pissed even, but I would also be extremely sad and scared. And I was actually wrongfully in jail once, which did eventually work out, but I had to push on, put on my big girl panties, and overcome the obstacles and factually prove my innocence. So I have a lot of life experience to bring to the conversation. Honest scientific professionals will not say that other evidence would not or could not change their opinion. With every new piece of evidence, new conclusions can be drawn and inferred. Ask any investigator. Ask any detective. Ask them. Don't trust me. Ask people that you trust in these fields. Dr. Wolf was clearly biased and knew exactly what he was there to do, per Levy. Upon further investigation, it was discovered that his wife was part of the FKR folks. Things that make us go, Let's act with integrity and allow both sides of the situation to speak respectfully. If you're willing, let me know. I'd love to give your viewers more to consider than just one side. Don't you think critical thinking and learning to disagree respectfully is important for our communities, our country, our world, humanity as a whole? Additionally, number 1, the defense experts had no credibility given ARCA, as I just explained. 2, 1/16 by 1/16 inch taillight pieces were found in John O'Keefe's clothing, which was taken from the scene of the crime to the hospital where he was taken. So Michael Proctor did not even have time to get taillight pieces to the Albert residence. He wasn't even on scene. There were news stations out there recording video, and nobody saw Michael Proctor, or anybody for that matter, run around burying taillight pieces, and he certainly wouldn't have had time to do that and go to the hospital and plant more taillight pieces in his sweatshirt. There was DNA on taillight or taillight housing. Okay, check me on that. Commonwealth tech experts knocked Dr. Green out of the water. The Celebrite guy, Ian Whiffen, wrote the program that Dr. Green finally acquiesced to his misinterpretation of this data in his last sentence on the stand. Completely blew him into a cannon. Number 4, Commonwealth tech witnesses, Jessica Hyde and Ian Whiffen, factually disproved in the court, not opinion, facts, demonstrably proven facts. These experts disproved the majority of what appeared to be strange activity on the phones, apps, etc. This includes Jen McCabe's 227, that has completely been debunked. Please check out Tuesday Gazette. She is doing excellent journalism, calling out the bullshit Vanity Fair article. Okay? And attorney at law Andrew D. Myers pointed in you. I'm really disappointed in the fact that you too are not acting with integrity on this case. You know that the prosecution cannot come out and talk about an ongoing investigation. So stop pretending like they should, and stop pretending like anybody involved in this case, JFK, these adult people that are state's witnesses who have jobs and families, and some of which who are retired law enforcement, are not going to come on some fucking podcast and claim that they are innocent. You want to know why? Because they don't give a shit what you think. Your opinion of them doesn't matter. And you know why else? They may have lots of other reasons, but this is what I am going to offer, is that they are still state's witnesses. They are still going to have to testify again, and they are not going to do anything to disrupt the integrity of the investigation. And most importantly, they do not owe social media anything. Actually, most importantly, they did testify on the stand under oath, and you still don't believe them. You think if they came on your show and they told you exactly the truth of what they said on the stand, would that change your mind? No. You're going to do exactly what you assholes do. You're going to distort the fucking truth. You're going to take their words and twist them and make them into something else. You have made up your mind that Karen Read is innocent no matter what. You know, I mean, even you, JFK, call shit out constantly that clearly looks awful because it is awful. But yet you still say Karen Read is innocent. I mean, you're not fooling anybody, JFK. You are a street smart dude. I recognize that. You don't fool me for a half a fucking second. If you do, then entertain. You hung up on me the one night that we were getting into it. I know you had to go pick up your daughter, so like that's fine. But the way that you did listen to Kate, but then the way that you then went on the next night and just personally attacked her was ridiculous. You both had a very respectful conversation, and she gave you facts. She's not telling you things that she feels like she has to be right, and she's not going to entertain anything because she's closed-minded. That woman has went through the facts of the case. She has read every single court document. She has looked at all of the evidence. She knows what the facts are. She listened to all the testimony. She believes the people that actually take the stand and testify under oath for the state. She believes them, just like I do. Nothing that she or I or any of these witnesses say will ever change the mind of people that believe that she is innocent and will not even entertain the idea that they could be wrong. While in the process, they're continuing to contribute to the horror, which is the very close to being riots in their own communities. And again, you know what? I'm going to say this to you, JFK. I respect your cause. I finally understand what it is and why you globbed onto this is about the corruption in Boston and, you know, that area. You are bringing awareness to corruption. I get that. You are trying to expose the various problems within the judicial system and how people, once you're in the system, it's a fucking bitch to get out. Trust me, I know personally. I respect that. But what Kay was saying about how these people are being affected and hurt, that is really her cause. That is really my cause. I don't even know these people. But I'm an empath, and I'm full of compassion. I am full of love. And I can't stand by and watch human beings treat human beings the way that these people have been treated and joked about. And their loved ones' murder has become fodder for the fucking YouTube as well as mainstream media. I fucking called mainstream media news channels and wrote scathing reviews to these people who fucking had people on there. One particular night, one of these attorneys literally sat on one of these court TV shows or something. I can't remember what it was exactly. And I said, "Are you fucking kidding me? You're having attorneys on that are literally saying that the family has been basically brainwashed by the Commonwealth and that they have been sold a bill of goods about the fact that the Commonwealth decided on Karen Read and they decided that she was it no matter what and they were going to frame her even if she wasn't guilty, and John's family doesn't have enough integrity, honesty, or intelligence to know and research and know without a fiber of a doubt that the right person is on trial." This fucking attorney sat there and literally said that on national TV, and you bet your ass I called that station and I wrote a fucking scathing review. And I will tell you, I doubt it was because of me, but they didn't do that shit anymore. I hope many, many people did exactly what I did, because that is unacceptable. And our mainstream media is fucking in it for the clicks and view and money just as much as YouTube these days. It's disgusting. It needs to be called out. Okay, none of those phone calls that y'all want to say Jen McCabe fucking deleted. She didn't delete. If you don't believe me, listen to the testimony. It's really simple. Your phone holds only so much. As it gets full, it deletes shit. Ian Whiffen explained this. Jessica Hyde explained these things. Yet these people who have been brainwashed or are choosing to profit off of this, knowing that they're putting out lies, just pretend like none of that actually happened. And you want to know what? Probably a lot of them don't fucking know that it actually happened, because they're outside the courthouse during the trial having a pep rally while testimony in this murder trial is happening. So they're not watching the testimony. And where do they get their information? From all these assholes on YouTube that are making money, that are getting donations, that are paying their mortgages, spreading lies, allowing John's family and friends and all of these state witnesses to be fucking dehumanized and victimized and terrorized. Shame on all of you. Fucking disgusting. Why in the actual world would the O'Keefe family want to send someone to prison whom they actually cared for and felt betrayed by? If it wasn't obvious, John O'Keefe's family liked Karen. I had no idea during the entire trial. I mean, I started to get a picture of it about halfway through when Paul did start fucking mean mugging Karen. But I had no idea what they felt. I didn't know if she was innocent or guilty. I didn't know what they thought. I literally was not sure until Paul gave that interview. The one and only interview we got. Thank God we got that. I wish they could do more. I realize they probably have personal reasons for not. I think it would be to their benefit, but they may not be able to for a variety of reasons. But, yeah, I mean, they testified they liked Karen. They loved Karen. They welcomed Karen. This was not an easy thing for them to even fucking understand or accept or grasp. Imagine one of your people that you love in your life, your best friend, imagine that they were killed by their significant other, but you had no idea that they were, you had no idea that this happened. You were in the shoes of Carrie Roberts and Jen McCabe, and you found your friend's significant other along with your friend and, played out. Would your first thought be that your friend's girlfriend killed him? No, none of these people thought that immediately. None of them found it weird that she was screaming, I did it, I did it, I did it. They just thought it was that she was fucking losing her mind. That's why most people, that's why they didn't arrest her on the scene. They were like, first of all, they're trying to save John's life. That's the first priority, okay? So fuck you, anybody that is questioning why they weren't arresting Karen and why that wasn't the first priority. Okay, they were trying to save John's life. And then, no, they're not going to assume that Karen is guilty of this. I mean, they're trying to fucking even understand what in the hell is going on. I cannot imagine. So if you sit and say that these people conspired this shit, then why wouldn't they have been doing it right away? And why wouldn't Karen look at Jen and say, what in the fuck happened here last night? If that was me, I would have fucking been screaming at Jen. I would have ran up to that house. I would have banged on that door. If the door was unlocked like it allegedly was, I would have went in their fucking house. I would have went straight up to their bedroom. I don't give a shit if I didn't know them. If I found my man like that on the front lawn of their house, you bet your ass I'd be up in that bedroom screaming and hollering and figuring out what the hell happened. If I was innocent, if I didn't know, and if I dropped him off there. What the fuck, people? It's common sense. All right. Sad and disgusting, you're defending a murderer and diminishing the value of an actual survivor of abuse. What if she were your daughter? Oh, I forgot. Okay, so why in the actual world would the O'Keefe family send someone to prison whom they actually cared for and felt betrayed by? Why would they go through so much trouble, so much heartache, so much torture to convict someone who's not guilty, who they cared for, who their son cared for? And why would they be covering for the people that actually killed him? I mean, that line of thinking, it doesn't even stand up for 1 second of actual intelligent thought. Okay, so then I say, sad and disgusting, you're defending a murder and dismissing the value of an actual survivor of abuse. What if she were your daughter? Oh, this was something that I said in one of their streams because they were talking about Turtle Boy, one of Turtle Boy's victims, who is his ex, and I'm not going to say her name. You all know her name. And they're on their freaking Aussie Insider podcast just totally talking shit about her. So I said that in chat. It's sad and disgusting that you're defending a murderer, and yet you're diminishing the value of an actual survivor of abuse. What they call this woman is the most despicable, abhorrent thing. Fake. Those of you that know. There's another word behind that. Fake victim, they call her. That's fucking disgusting. What if she were your daughter? What if she were your daughter? Would you talk about her? Would you like it if anybody else was talking about her? Particularly if they didn't fucking know her and they didn't know her ex, but yet they're believing him, the actual person being accused of the crime, and dismissing the testimony of the victim. Make that make sense. Again, I'm not saying all defendants are guilty. I'm not saying that all defendants lie. I'm not saying that some people that press charges don't lie. But I'm saying to outright not know either of these people and to outright automatically, in both cases, just believe everything out of Karen Read's mouth and Turtle Boy's mouth, the two criminals that are going to trial for their crimes, you believe everything out of their mouth to be fact, and you believe none of the 80 plus witnesses involved in either of their criminal cases who have no dog in the fight, most of them that are witnesses, okay, other than getting justice for their loved one, or, you know, the medical people and the scientists, they don't have any. They're literally there to give testimony. But you don't believe them. Okay. There's definitely corruption in that area, but Karen Read's case is not the case. If folks don't start objecting to the disgusting way y'all are defending Karen Read and Turtle Boy, more and more will be arrested. You want to complain about rubber duckies, you make it a big fucking joke. These people have been terrorized. That is another form. To wake up, to sit and have to listen to this outside of your work, your home, your children's homes, your children's schools, your children's athletic events. You get no reprieve from these assholes who the state is not protecting you from for some fucked up reason that I will never understand. It's not funny, and it's not a joke. And yes, that is intimidation. And if people in that area don't start standing up for what is actually right, they don't start standing up to Turtle Boy and his fucking mob of mindless zombies. And yes, at this point, you have to be a mindless zombie to still believe in this conspiracy. It is fucking ridiculous. If you can't see it, I honest to God seriously think you need to get professional help and deprogram for your own mental sanity. You have been brainwashed and you are in a cult. People that are in a cult don't wake up and decide to join a cult. They don't think it's a good idea to be in a cult. They don't recognize when they are in a cult. Their loved ones do, and their loved ones have to basically kidnap them and get them professional help if there's any hope for them. Some make it, some don't. Crazy people don't know they're crazy. People in a cult will never say, I'm in a cult. You don't recognize it as that. This particular, what you want to call a movement, y'all think you're doing your, you're being activists and standing up for what's right. You're standing up against corruption, except you're standing up for the actual criminals, and you are victimizing, re-victimizing, and re-victimizing the actual victims. So I think you need to reassess what you think you know. You are one step away from riots in that area. Like, I'm concerned for you. There could be more personal injury, death. There's definitely more mental health injury happening. There has to be. Can anything actually convince you that you just may be on the wrong side of this? Can any of you admit that you may actually be wrong? Can any of you prove, or can any of you fathom the idea that you could be wrong? Can any of you admit that you could be wrong? Think about, what if you are wrong? Will you be proud of the content that you put out? Will you be proud of the things you said and did to the O'Keefe family and to the victims? If you can't say that you haven't done anything that, if Karen Read is guilty, that you wouldn't be proud of or that you wouldn't feel ashamed about, then fine. If you want to continue to support her, support her. But don't re-victimize people and don't create new victims. And do not raise money for that woman in his name. I hope to God they fucking absolutely are able to get some kind of civil suit against all you assholes that have profited off of their son's death, their brother's death, their loved one's death. Okay, JFK, I wrote this. Hey, JFK, I just want to prepare you for the truth. It is coming. The Commonwealth hired their own version of ARCA, and they will get all the facts from the vehicle that the ARCA guys refused to look at to be able to actually form an expert opinion. There will be no defense for the information that is gleaned. There's already no defense for the information that they have, which I have stated millions of times throughout the history of my voice being on the YouTube streets. Okay? So I'm not going to go into all that again. But this was the very first time I contacted him. I literally am like, this guy can't be thinking that she's still innocent. But I gave him the benefit of the doubt, and I thought, well, maybe. And then, shit. And so I wrote this to him, but yeah, I no longer believe that he believes that she's factually innocent. Okay, so, I am just wondering if anyone who's been fighting for this woman with their blood, sweat, tears, and money will feel any sense of betrayal when she is found guilty. When the truth does come out, are y'all going to hold her accountable? Are y'all going to feel the betrayal, the level of betrayal that you should feel for spending your hard-earned money, your hard-earned time, giving up jobs and relationships and all of these things that you've sacrificed for this woman that you don't know, who you are defending against a murder that she committed against her boyfriend, who you do not know, but you think you know more about this case than his own family, and you're going to raise money and fight for this woman? Are you going to feel betrayed by her when the facts come out? Are you going to be able to see the truth? Are you going to be able to accept the truth? Sorry, I keep losing my spot. Hold on one second. Keep going off on my tangents. She's a dangerous woman. Mark my words. I know what I know, just like you. Again, this is all to JFK, this one. There are 2 other cases in that area that actually deserve all this attention and help from the public. I wish the focus was there, where there's true corruption. I very much appreciate you and James, your flow, your thoughts, your style, your rhyming. I'm personally a big fan of Brother Ali. I like underground hip hop. If you haven't heard of Brother Ali, check him out. And I feel like you know in your gut that she's guilty. However, you keep saying you want to get to the truth. I can help you get there, but you must be open to it. What Kate was telling you are facts. She's not out here peddling her opinion. And when she does tell you her opinion, she tells you that that's her opinion. She is very honest about who she is, where she comes from, what her motives are, what she knows to be fact, what is her conjecture, why she draws the conclusions she draws, just like I am, okay? So neither one of us are women that have to be right. We just happen to do our research and we happen to know the truth, which doesn't seem to be important to many of you. I am just asking that creators take a more responsible approach to their process of putting information out into the universe. It's gotten ugly. We're going to create our own demise if we continue to act like it's the purge all day, every day, which this has become. If I were accused of murdering my husband, I wouldn't be on social media. I would take the damn stand, period. And I would tell the public that their behavior is abhorrent, and if they want to support me, that's a beautiful thing. But don't go accusing people of things with zero evidence. And for the love of God, do not be hurting his friends and family. If you want to support me, you can first start by supporting and loving his friends and family. It's very sad what she has created in the aftermath of Officer John O'Keefe's losing his life is absolutely, completely, 100% unacceptable. And that deserves a huge punishment. It's Innocence Fraud 101. Listen to Roberta Glass. She has a great podcast on it to educate yourself on what this is. Our American justice system needs to know it. We need to learn it. We need to recognize it. And we need to put into law whatever kind of legislation needs to come down in the face of this very corrosive, and she nearly got away with it, kind of bullshit behavior. And even if she didn't get away with it, the damage that she and all of these people have caused in the aftermath of his death, as if his death and his loss wasn't a huge enough atrocity and tragedy, these people have incited vitriolic hatred to not only his friends and family and loved ones, but to people that were literally just doing their job. Michael Proctor has a clean professional record. Look it up. Do your research. You have ruined that man's professional life and impacted his personal life in ways that I can't even imagine. I'm sure, I'm guessing, but I can't imagine that's not affecting him personally. I mean, you have completely thrown him to the wolves, and the fucking justice system and his bosses and the governor and the mayor and Josh Levy, these people in power that should have protected him, that should have protected his civil rights, didn't. And it's disgusting. And I told JFK that I was wrongfully in jail for over a month. It was awful, but I put on my big girl panties and cleaned up my own mess. I didn't incite hate and vitriol. I could never do that shit. It's inhumane, in my humble opinion. I was put in jail basically as a result of a guilty by association issue. My boyfriend at the time, had just turned 18. I had moved out of state, ran away from college. My parents didn't know where I was. He committed a crime. I was not a part of it, but he lived with me. So when they arrested him, I was arrested and I literally told the judge this, and it was a guilty by association thing. It's a really long story, but I had to clean up my own mess. Like, I chose to be with this man, and he was not a good person, and he was a criminal. And if he's still on this earth, I hope he has found a better way of living. Let's see. What I was trying to say about the witnesses, Brian, Jen, etc., coming on social media. Oh, this must have been after he hung up on me that night. This must have been when I wrote this to him. What I was trying to say about the witnesses coming on social media to discount these ridiculous claims that they've murdered John. One, the thought would never cross my mind at my age. I'm probably slightly younger than them. I'm slightly younger than you, but right around their same age. Okay, I would never, ever think to go on social media to proclaim my innocence in a crime where there is a defendant on trial for said crime who is trying to spin this ridiculous conspiracy, who apparently people on social media have bought, to my dismay. But I am not going to go on social media and defend myself. I owe social media nothing. I owe nobody nothing except the courts and my family and my friends, and that's it. Okay? And they gave their testimony on the stand, like I said. So what in the hell are they going to say on your show or any other show that's going to convince you of anything other than what you believe after their under oath testimony? Like, come on, dude. It would never cross my mind at my age, which was likely similar to their thought process. I'm sure they were in total shock as they just lost their dear friend and slowly realized this. I'm going to stop there because once again, I'm over 2 hours. I want to show this video from Aussie, and I'm going to just get into this and show this and do a tiny bit of commentary, and then I am going to go to sleep. All right, let me see. Where did it go? Oh, this is it. Okay.
You do realise that it's we.
The data don't lie, people do.
Oh, so you don't care for all the drama. You do.
Let me just say, I love your intro, Aussie. And it is a fact that the data don't lie, people do. You either don't understand how this evidence lays out, or I don't understand. You are clearly intelligent. I don't understand if you literally believe in her innocence, or if you are part of this cult and have no idea that you've been brainwashed. Because I can't understand, if you're getting all of your information from Turtle Boy and or other creators on YouTube, then you are getting the wrong information. What they are telling you are not facts. What they are telling you are spun facts. And if you watched the court case, but you were watching it with somebody like attorney Melanie Little, who's dictating and telling you what this means and making all kinds of stupid fucking faces like she has no idea. Oh my God. Oh, the inverted video. That's corrupt. That's corruption. Oh my God. The shoe and the hat and the belt that I was preaching on and on about for months that were not there and they needed to be found because they were in the house. That was found and it's an evidence. And I'm just going to not acknowledge that. I'm not going to acknowledge the fact that they disproved 227. I'm not going to acknowledge the fact that there's a clear picture of Karen's taillight broken at 8 o'clock in the morning. It is missing a large chunk in evidence. Okay, I'm just going to ignore that. I don't know how many pieces that fucking chunk broke into, and nobody would know. They know, they see it's missing. Whether it's one big piece or 52,754 little pieces, it's not important. It was broken. It was at the scene of the crime. It was at where John's body fell. He was 9 feet, not 30 feet, pirouetted. He got knocked out of his shoe 9 feet. There was taillight under 3 feet of snow that had been plowed by Lucky into a snowbank. And yes, the leaf blower was ingenious, because you're not going to take a shovel, you shouldn't really take a shovel to a scene where you're trying to dig through snow and try to find a plastic taillight with a metal shovel. You could break it. So the only better thing than a leaf blower would be some sort of hair dryer or something similar with heat to melt the snow. Are you going to sit there for 85 hours and fucking sit there with 70,000 blow dryers to melt 3 feet of snow to look for taillight pieces? Or are you going to allow the snow to melt in order to find what's under this fucking snow? I mean, come the fuck on, people. You want to make a fucking conspiracy out of everything. It makes me sick. You need to learn how to look at this data differently. You need to at least give it the old college try at looking at it from a different perspective, Aussie. You are either full of shit or you are brainwashed. And if you literally can't admit that you might be wrong, then this is all meaningless for you, but hopefully somebody will learn something from this.
Realise that it's we, YouTube creators, who are on the front line of these coordinated attacks. You may not care. You may not even...
Shut the fuck up. You are on the front line of these attacks? You are what? Getting harassment online from a different country? Fuck off. The family of John O'Keefe, the friends of John O'Keefe, the state's witnesses, all of the emergency personnel who tried to save his life, those are the people who have been on the front lines of actual danger and threats and intimidation and harassment and terrorism. You don't have to be on social media. You don't have to fucking put out content that is trying to help a murderer. You don't have to do that. And if you don't want, and if you choose to do so, then you might get some flack from people who fucking cannot fucking stand it anymore. But you know what? What the fuck do you care what I think? What the fuck do you care? Nobody is actually physically or emotionally threatening you. You are under no threat. John O'Keefe's family and friends are under threat. That community is under threat. They are one step away from riots in the street and more physical harm brought to more people. What if you are wrong, Aussie? Are you going to be proud of this shit that you are putting out? Are you going to be proud of the way you spoke to people who came to you respectfully like I did and you fucking blocked and disrespected and made fun of? Are you going to be proud of the fact that you're making fun of victims of Turtle Boys? Again, what if she were your daughter, Aussie? Don't fucking tell me you're on the front lines of being attacked.
And have social media, so you might be completely oblivious as to what is happening.
No, you are completely oblivious to what is actually happening. If you think what you're doing is righteous, then you are completely fucking oblivious.
We are on the front lines. We put our asses on the line to cover the FKR content for you.
What the fuck are you risking by putting out content and making money off of this content that you are creating willfully because you enjoy doing so? What the fuck are you doing that is under attack? How are you in any kind of threat or danger, Aussie? Please leave it in my comments.
We are being stalked, harassed, and dragged.
You are being stalked? Really? Who's stalking you? Do they know where you live? Has anybody come to your house? Who's stalking you, Aussie? And if you're being harassed online, grow a set. If you're going to be online and you're going to fucking make claims like you're making that are defending a murder defendant, and you're not going to listen to the actual victim's family, you are discounting the victims, you discount everything that every witness says on the stand as lies, then you're fucking going to have to deal with the shit that you get.
And our families, not you. We protect
Is your family under threat? Please tell me how, Aussie. Let me know. Do a reaction video to mine if it makes you feel better. Go for it. I'm all fucking ears. You tell me the facts from your fucking perspective, Aussie. And I have watched some of your shit, so I know where you stand. I've reached out to you. You blocked me. You treated me like shit. That makes me think that either A, you're part of a cult and you don't know it, B, you're a disrespectful asshole of a person, or C, you are knowingly putting out false information. I don't know which one you are. I'm not here to fucking determine that. But that's what I see.
By placing ourselves and our families in harm's way.
Who is in harm's way? Who the fuck is in harm's way? Is your family in harm's way? Tell me. Please let me know.
About Karen Read's case. In case you haven't understood yet, these attacks are being coordinated by the very people who murdered John, covered it up.
You want to know who's coordinating the attacks, Aussie? Listen to me fucking closely and listen to me good. These coordinated attacks that you speak of started with this man right here, Alan Jackson, David Yanetti, and Karen Read feeding Turtle Boy information, and Turtle Boy giving it to all of you asshole creators who want to believe in conspiracy theories, who want to push out fucking salacious soap opera drama that happens to be people's real life without doing the fucking research, and automatically believing a fucking blogger who's demonstratively proven to be a fucking liar, a cheat, and a criminal. demonstratively proven to have done witness intimidation. Where you're getting all of your information is coordinated attacks from Turtle Boy, from Karen Read, from Alan Jackson, from David Yanetti, and Josh Levy fucking at the fucking helm, allowing this bullshit sham to go on. Why don't you write a fucking letter to Josh Levy, and why don't you ask him to tell you the fucking truth? He owes us that. He owes the O'Keefes that. These fucking people need to be held accountable. You want to know who the fucking coordinated attacks are coming from? People like you. They came directly from the murder defendant and her fucking criminal defense attorneys, who have now committed not only ethical violations, but criminal acts. Mark my fucking words. Demonstratively provable. Get Turtle Boy's FOIA his fucking court documents, and FOIA Karen Read's court documents, Aussie. Until I fucking see you get that shit and read that shit, I don't fucking want to hear about any kind of coordinated attacks until you do proper research into what has been going on in your fucking camp with your fucking cult leader. Ask for help from people that love you. Tell them what you think. Ask them to do their own research, and ask them to fucking tell you what the hell is going on.
And framed Karen Read.
Nobody framed Karen Read. Nobody gives a shit enough about Karen Read to go through all of the trouble of fucking framing her. And the actual victim's family certainly are not going to frame innocent fucking people for their loved one's death. Again, Aussie, do you really think that you fucking know better than John O'Keefe's family? Do you really think that they're fucking sheep who are gonna just believe automatically that here's what the district attorney said, so I'm just gonna believe everything and I'm going to just, fucking follow my shepherd? Would you? If your child was found the way John was found, would you just fucking buy whatever the fucking prosecution was selling? Or would you fucking make sure they had the right person? Answer me.
Became more than evident in the Phelps podcast and the manipulation.
Oh my God. You are listening to the Phelps podcast and you're fucking dug in even further saying that this further proves corruption? Please research M.W. Phelps's reputation. Research where he comes from and why he does what he does. Research all of the other cases that he has immersed himself in. You want to know where the fucking grifters are? It's on your side. Nobody that believes Karen Read is innocent and says it is making money off of it. Everybody that says that she's innocent is making money off of it. Doesn't that make you fucking question it just a little bit? Look up Michael Phelps's reputation. Look up Michael Proctor's reputation. Look up Adam Lally's reputation. After you have done proper, diligent research, please fucking let me know what you found in their history that would give you any indication that they would lie, cheat, steal, give up their professional integrity and reputation for some bullshit lie conspiracy. Please let me fucking know. Let the world know what you find that makes you think that all of these people that you're accusing of being corrupt and murderers, let me know the proof of that. And you want to know what? It is on you fucking assholes. You want to say that the defense doesn't have to prove her innocence? You have been chanting and screaming that this bitch is factually innocent. You put that burden on yourself. If you're going to let her just get away with reasonable doubt, guess what? She's never gonna, the way Hank Brennan is approaching this. There isn't a chance, a snowflake's chance in hell. But go ahead, do it, because that's what I think they're going to do. I think they're testing the waters already to see if the whole public will fucking turn on her if she doesn't bring in this third-party conspiracy, if they just go for reasonable doubt and they are going to try to poke a hole in everything. I don't think Hank Brennan is going to fucking let Alan Jackson get away with the shit that he did the first trial. Nope. Don't think so. Are you going to hold Karen accountable? Are you going to hold her accountable to showing you proof of something, to show you some kind of actual proof, to show you, to go into court and prove her innocence like y'all are claiming that she is factually innocent? You took that burden on.
Of Aiden Kearney and Sean on the golf. Don't pretend like you're all about the FKR content whilst ignoring that these people are trying to shut us down. You thought their dirty tricks ended with solo cups?
Again, Aussie, for the love of God. You need to research how different police departments are set up. The first responders on the scene are not the people that do the investigation. They have to wait for the CERT team to get there. That is how the police investigations work in this particular community. If you don't fucking know that, then shame on you for not fucking researching it. Okay? The people that were on scene, first and foremost, they were trying to save John's life. Karen was screaming, carrying on. All of the people were in shock. Anybody that was there that was John's friend was in fucking shock. They were just trying to fucking stand up and breathe and come to terms with what the fuck they were seeing. Okay? So Karen Reed screaming all these really crazy things that, yeah, probably should have got her arrested on the spot. Everybody discounted it because she's the girlfriend of the man that they just found in the yard. So their first priority is saving this man's life. And they're basically, in my mind at least, probably letting her get away with all this crazy shit without taking her seriously, because she's clearly, most human beings would be in shock and might just fucking be screaming. So they're tuning her out. They're trying to get John help. They're just fucking trying to save their loved one's life. And as far as the medical people, that is their job. It's not their job to fucking make sure that Karen gets arrested. It is their job to make sure that John O'Keefe gets to the fucking hospital. And Brian Albert and his wife did not come out of their fucking house because they did not wake up. There were not sirens. There was a snowstorm. There were high speeds. The snow fucking dampens noise. And again, there were no sirens. Karen screaming. In that type of area where there is snow, there are thick product doors. And they had been drinking all night. They passed out probably early that morning. This was happening just hours after they likely fell asleep. And no, their dog doesn't bark. And yes, Chloe is alive. And listen to Nicole Albert on the stand. She tells you that Chloe is available if she is needed. She is in Vermont. Both the police and the defense attorneys know exactly where Chloe is. They know exactly that they can test her DNA. They gave that fight up in a pretrial motion. Judge Bev asked Yanetti directly, you want to continue pursuing the dog DNA? No, David Yanetti says. And then out of the blue, all of a sudden, some crazy expert flies in from California and you all think that she's credible. For the love of fucking God.
This is a concerted effort to break down public support for Canton.
And you're saying that Sean on the Gulf and who else are you talking about? I'm sorry.
Us down. You thought they did. Don't pretend like you're all about the FKR content whilst ignoring that these people are trying to shut us down. You thought their dirty tricks and
I forgot. I know Sean on the
understood yet. These attacks have been coordinated by the very people who murdered John, covered it up and framed Karen Reed. This became more than evident in the Phelps podcast and the manipulation of Aiden Kearney and Sean on the Gulf. Don't pretend
okay. Manipulation. Phelps is a fucking professional investigative journalist. He investigates crime. Again, research the man. Turtle Boy is a fucking criminal. He is lying. You have either bought his goods wholesale or you're fucking lying Still, it sounds to me like you believe in this. So I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt like you believe in it. In which case, you truly need to seek help. I'm not saying that to be degrading or rude. You have been brainwashed. You need to do proper research before you throw another professional under the bus who has a stellar reputation, and you're going to sit and call him a fucking whatever you're going to say. He's lying. He's manipulating. Come the fuck on. How can you honestly still believe that every single person that believes Karen Read and Aiden Kearney are guilty of the crimes that they are being charged with, they're all fucking full of shit? We're all lying. I don't know any of these people. I don't hate Aiden. I certainly don't like him, but I don't hate him. Hate is a very strong word, and I don't really know that feeling, okay? So, no, I don't think that Karen is guilty because I hate Turtle Boy or I don't like Turtle Boy. I have researched this case from both sides. I've had discussions with people from both sides, from different perspectives, with different ideas. And I have come to my very strong conclusion based in fact that is demonstratively provable and has been proven in a court of law. The only difference is that a few FKR people got on that fucking jury. So I sure as shit hope that the courts have a way to weed out that shit, because that is going to be the most important duty for the second trial. Get anybody out of that jury pool that is FKR, because that shit will fuck up every jury. That's the only thing that could pervert justice. And if you want to complain about all these people that are paying all these taxes, then you should be pissed at Turtle Boy and Karen Read, because they're the ones that are causing this. If the state didn't have a fucking case, they would not spend the money to prosecute this woman again. Hank Brennan is not going to fucking come in and risk his professional reputation if he doesn't believe in the facts that he has to work with. Are you going to be able to even consider the fact that Karen Read might be guilty? Are you ever going to be able to look at this with a fresh perspective? I truly wonder.
But you're all about the FKR content whilst ignoring that these people are trying to shut us down. You thought their dirty tricks ended with solo cups? This is a concerted effort to break down public support for Karen, and your ignorance is exactly what they want. By all means, walk away. Pretend it isn't happening simply because it isn't happening to you or your family directly. As creators, we rely on our audiences supporting us, especially when the going gets tough.
Well, Aussie, then maybe if your audience is pushing back, you should maybe fucking try and look at it from where your audience is coming from. Have you ever thought of that? If 15 people tell you you have a tail, are you ever going to look and see if you have a tail? Or are you just going to be blissfully ignorant and walk around with a fucking tail? Because right now, you're walking around with a tail. If your audience is giving you shit and saying, Aussie, I think we might have been wrong. If there are people in your audience that have enough integrity to say, we need to look at this a little bit differently, maybe you should fucking respect your audience and try to do what it is that they are asking you to do, and stop being a whiny little bitch when somebody comes into your chat and respectfully asks you to look at shit from a different perspective. If you want respect, you need to give respect.
Rest assured, we are going to stick it out, despite the McAlbert's best efforts to make us quit.
And quit. You are so disrespectful to every victim. The Alberts and the McCabes and the Proctors and the Roberts and the O'Keefes are all victims. The way that David Yanetti and Alan Jackson treated every single fucking state's witnesses, with very few exceptions, was deplorable, and you should all be ashamed of that. If you think that 80 people are going to get on the stand and lie, and the only person that isn't lying is the one person that is in the defense chair, and she will not take the stand, yet she's the one that's telling the truth, right? Really, Aussie? Can you honestly fucking say that that makes any logical sense? That is so ridiculous. It is so fucking mind-boggling how you continue with this shit. You need to come to terms with the idea that you might be wrong, because I can guarantee you she is fucking guilty as a mofo. And she is not just guilty of murder. She is guilty of many more crimes. And everything that you're saying that the entire fucking country is doing to Karen, she is actually doing to the country. She is gaslighting you. Alan Jackson is gaslighting you. David Yanetti is gaslighting you. And Aiden Kearney, Turtle Boy, is fucking gaslighting you. You don't have to believe me, but please fucking FOIA the court documents, read them, do independent research on the people that you continue to discredit without even fucking looking into them. Did you look into Phillips? Have you listened to the whole podcast so far? Have you looked up his reputation? Do you know why he does what he does? Have you watched any of his other documentaries that he's been a part of, or read any of his other books? Or did you just blindly say that this is another man who's lying because he doesn't believe what you believe? Do you understand how fucking close-minded and ridiculous that is? Do you understand that that is a very dangerous way to live? It is very important that human beings surround themselves with people who don't agree with each other. If you cannot intellectually and respectfully have conversations with people who don't believe the same things you believe, and who you're just going to discredit and call stupid and call corrupt and call liars and cheaters and stealers because they don't agree with you, without doing any independent research, that is dictatorship, which is a cult mentality, which is how zombies are created. And I don't want to live in a world of sheep. Because when we become sheep, we will be in a dictatorship. We will stop evolving. Evolution will cease to exist. We will not grow, and we will burn ourselves to the ground. We need to be able to have civil discourse, and quite frankly, I enjoy it. I love having fucking conversations with people of all walks of life, with all sorts of different personalities, with all sorts of different life experiences, because it makes me grow. It helps me learn. It helps me either believe stronger in my beliefs or makes me question my beliefs. And it is not a sign of weakness to question your own beliefs. In fact, that is a strength. And to admit that you're wrong is extremely brave and courageous. It's really not that fucking big of a deal. But in cases like this, where you've invested your whole frickin' identity into it, and you feel like if you admit that you were wrong, then somehow, like, you just can't handle that you could be wrong. So you are going to continue to do mental gymnastics to make things fit so that you can appease your own conscience. That's what I see.
But you know what? We ain't got no quit. So
I don't got no quit either.
And get us to quit. It ain't happening. Certainly not on my watch.
I'm just hoping that you guys have enough integrity and honesty and courage to reevaluate the situation, to take a step back, to maybe get off social media for a day or a week or a month and spend some time in nature and decompress and come at it fresh and actually do research and actually get court documents and actually research the people that you are freaking degrading and calling names and victimizing and disparaging actual victims, and then maybe reassess your thought process and come at this from a different perspective. Come at this from both sides. You don't have to disparage anybody to support Karen. If you still decide you want to support Karen, that's fine. But you don't need to call victims names. You don't need to accuse every single person in the world that's prosecuting her or involved in her prosecution corrupt. Same thing with Turtle Boy. All the same applies. He has victims. Whether you want to fucking acknowledge that or not, that's up to you. But to disparage them and to outright dismiss their claims is fucking close-minded and ignorant.
I've given you diagrams, short-form explanations, long-form explanations.
You can fucking draw me pie charts to the moon and back, but unless they have the facts and actual facts that you can demonstratively prove in court documents, not bullshit receipts that Turtle Boy has created himself that are fake, Aussie. They're fake. They're fake.
Receipts.
Oh my God.
No.
I did not know that word was coming. I fucking knew it though, because you're constantly saying, Turtle Boy has receipts. Turtle Boy has receipts because he creates shit. He's a professional fraud. If you refuse to look, you will never find.
And some of you are still sitting there scratching your heads because you can't work out how the McAlberts are coordinating all these things to kill off public support for Karen Rick.
Yep, all of these people are putting their lives, their liberty, their personal safety, their mental health, their children's mental health, their family's welfare, for years, for 3 years already, and many more to come. They are going to sacrifice all that to frame one innocent person, who at one point many of these people truly liked, and some even probably loved. Yep, that's fucking reasonable.
And if you still haven't worked it out with all the content that I've provided so far, then that's not a me problem, that's a you problem. If you're only here for the leak.
If you want to only look at one side and you want to ignore all of the actual factual evidence and you want to believe that the actual criminals who are being prosecuted for their crimes are the only people telling the truth, and every single other person in that area and around the world that can look at this case and see it differently than you and prosecute these people for their crimes, like, help me make sense of that. Why would all of these people do that? What are they getting out of it? Because I can tell you what everybody on the FKR side is getting out of it. Power, money, prestige, and politics. Doing it for political reasons. You really need to educate yourself better, Aussie, on how criminals think, what they do, how they act, and how the American justice system functions. It's pretty ridiculous that you can sit there with a straight fucking face and with any sort of intellectual honesty continuously say that the only people out of 80-some witnesses that were called to the stand that have no skin in the game, most of them, are gonna fucking risk their own sanctity, their children's sanctity, their children's college career, scholarships, mental health, jobs, relationships, on and on it goes. They're gonna fucking sacrifice all of that to frame an innocent woman so that these moms and dads cold-heartedly planned the murder of their friend, put him on their own lawn because that was the best that they could come up with, and then go home and wait for 6 hours for their friend to die by himself in a blizzard. And then his family is going to not pursue truth and justice. They're going to protect his murderers and try to convict a woman who they welcomed into their family. I mean, what the fuck, Aussie?
Legal breakdowns, go watch a legal channel. But you may well find that even they can't ignore all the extraneous manipulation.
Yeah, all the fucking bullshit lawyers like Melanie Little, and even the lawyer you know, and like uncivil law. Yeah, why don't you go see what they're saying? Why don't you also take note of how much money they're making off of pushing their narrative? And you know what else? When somebody in their chat says something that could be any little tiny degree of problematic for Karen, just like asking a question like, well, why would Jen McCabe answer Karen's phone call in the morning if Jen was in on this plot to murder John? Why would she answer that phone call? Why would she go with Karen and help Karen? Why would she go to the scene of her own crime? If you ask that in Melanie Little's chat, see what happens. Do it respectfully. See if you're blocked. See if you get snide comments. And see how the rest of the chat treats you and chastises you. You're not allowed to have free thought in those chat rooms of those people. And if you do, and if you say something that they don't like, oh, you wait, it's coming. Lawyer you know does not even read his comments. He has never responded. The only ones he reads are the super chats, which is bullshit. And he doesn't participate with the comments that people leave on his page, as far as I can tell. He's doing it because he makes money off of it. If he was being intellectually honest, he would call balls and strikes on this shit better. He would be able, I think he's wise enough to see what is actually fucking happening here. And he pleads ignorance, and he pretends like he didn't hear the facts come out in the court. And he chooses to focus on all of these weird little things that where most of them were explained. And yeah, I'm calling you out, Peter, because you need to be held accountable. If you can't cover these cases with intellectual honesty, if you're going to let your frickin' chat dictate how you cover a case because you're scared of losing your subscribers, then don't cover that fucking case. Just don't do it. Walk away from it. You have plenty of people that enjoy your content and respect you because you are fair and honest for the most part. You have not been intellectually honest with this case. I cannot believe that because I know that you are not dumb. Yet I listen to the words that are coming out of your mouth and my jaw drops. Just walk away from this case or cover it honestly and let the subscribers go. If they don't appreciate you for your honest legal assessment, then fuck them. And if the money that you're taking in from your YouTube channel is more important to you than your professional and personal dignity, then I can't help you.
That's going on to kill off public support for Karen Read. To those of you...
And I think anybody listening to me knows how I feel about attorney Melanie Little. That bitch's ass should be in prison along with Karen Read. She knows very well what the facts are. She very much is a part of this. She is very much a wicked witch of the West in this case. She's disgusting. She has people that look up to her and respect her and take her word for gospel because she was a fucking attorney, a civil attorney, a victim's rights advocate, she says. Yet she's constantly degrading these victims and holding the criminals up on some moral fucking pedestal because they're fighting against the system. Fuck you, Melanie.
Who have stuck around, understood the diagrams, understood the content, worked out what's going on, and still support us, congratulations. You're the reason that we keep going. All of you are going...
So let me ask you, Aussie. If 90% of your audience says, Aussie, will you please look at this a little bit differently? Look at this. Look at this court document. Aussie, what does this mean? Why is this not making sense? Are you going to just fucking burn your channel to the ground because you refuse to look at the fucking actual facts? Or will you be able to take a step back and deprogram enough to be fair and honest about your coverage of this case? Or are you grifting? I don't know. You sound authentically convinced of her innocence. But so does Melanie Little, and she's clearly full of shit.
Going to be part of the very thing that takes the McCalverts down.
Nobody is going down, Aussie. The federal investigation was over the March before Karen's trial began. When TUI is discoverable in a federal investigation, when the Commonwealth and the defense are given the TUI evidence, the investigation is over. That's it. And unless fucking somebody goes and makes Josh Levy fucking get in front of the camera and tell the world the truth, you may not ever get the fucking truth. I'm going to keep pushing on. I'm going to keep trying to get fucking justice. I'm going to keep trying to hold him accountable for his fucked up criminal actions, which I believe are criminal. I don't believe he's stupid enough to be bamboozled by this shit. He was fucking using Turtle Boy News to grill the state's witnesses who have been terrorized by Turtle Boy, to fucking interrogate them in the grand jury. The state's fucking attorney himself was fucking grilling the grand jury. That's already, like, never happens. And then to do it with Turtle Boy News as if Turtle Boy News is fact, and then moreover that Turtle Boy is the one that is harassing them and is up on fucking witness intimidation charges, and now the fucking state's attorney is grilling them with the information that came directly from their fucking predator. Out of this fucking world.
Dedication, your loyalty to the cause, your understanding of the intricacies of what's going on and why it's going on. It's people like you that make a movement that causes change. Not running away at the first sign of trouble or drama is precisely.
All of this is very true. All of this is very true, except for the cause that you are standing behind. If all of these people demanded that Josh Levy tell the truth, demanded that fucking Karen Read tell the truth, and Aiden Kearney tell the truth, and hold the actual criminals accountable, maybe you would see some fucking actual justice. But if these people don't fucking do their research and listen to the fucking evidence come out in court and instead be out having a pep rally outside the courthouse while the evidence is being testified to, then there's no fucking hope. And this is exactly the kind of people that people with integrity need to stand up against. Because I don't want to live in a society of fucking people who just believe people who say shit on YouTube. That's fucking extremely scary and will devastate our world if we fucking allow it.
What this movement needs. Having the fortitude to face the challenges and fight back. That's what we need. That's why we value your support.
Yeah, we do need that, but we need it against the terrorism that is Karen Read, her defense team, Aiden Kearney, and people like you pushing this propaganda and Josh Levy.
You're the reason we battle on. And to everybody else, we say, too bad, 'cause we ain't got no quit.
And to that I say, that's unfortunate. I truly hope you're able to have intellectual conversations with people who don't see things the way that you do. Instead of blocking us and bullying us and calling us names and not allowing us into your discourse, you are only proving my point that much more. If you want to be on some kind of soapbox and preach moral values and civil action, then you need to get out of your fucking echo chamber. No positive change happens within an echo chamber. No growth happens within an echo chamber. Prove to your audience that you are willing to have conversations with people that don't think the way you think, that see this case in the complete opposite way that you do. Have some integrity and prove to your audience that you're willing to do it. And while you're at it, open your fucking mind and allow the people that you do engage with to actually give you information that you can actually stop and consider, and not outright dismiss it if it doesn't follow your fucking bullshit propaganda conspiracy theory that Aiden Kearney and fucking Karen Read and her defense attorney, with the help of all of you little fucking minions on the YouTube streets, helped create her defense over the past 3 years. Because as they're fucking trying shit out on YouTube, they're testing what the public will believe, won't believe, what kind of questions they have, and they are fucking all working it all out. You want to know why Karen Read can answer questions like Nurse Kim constantly fucking says? Because she had 3 years and millions of people on the internet helping her research. I wish you all truth and justice. I wish you all love and light. I truly hope that those of you that have been either bamboozled or brainwashed or in some way fucking tricked and lied to, I truly hope that you will reach out to one of us, because we will not degrade you or shit on you for asking questions. We will not degrade you or shit on you for having a difference of opinion. We will not get defensive if you disagree with us. We will do our best to answer your questions. We will be respectful, unless you're a little fucking asshole to us. And even then we will try, but we are human. And we can only take so much of this bullshit. I cannot watch these victims re-victimized by people who have clearly not taken the time to find the factual truth, who just believe the defendants and the defense attorneys and the fucking blogger who is demonstratively not a good human. You're believing all of these people, yet you will not believe a soccer mom who has raised 3 daughters, one of which is authentically crying on the stand, and you are degrading and calling her a liar because she's crying, because this shit has fucking filled her life with just absolute chaos. It's disgusting. What do you need to see that Karen Read is guilty? If by some grace of God, through John O'Keefe's angel himself supplying some kind of photographic evidence from Karen's car to Hank Brennan, are you going to be able to believe it then? If there's a picture snapped when Karen made contact with John, are you then going to say, well, she didn't know? She didn't hear all of her bells and whistles? She didn't feel the contact of his body with her car? She didn't find it curious that he didn't answer his phone when she tries calling him 50,000 times that night? She didn't fucking think that she should go check on him? She didn't think that she should find out if he's okay, rather than assuming that he's dropped his pants 10 minutes after she dropped him off? You have to do so much mental gymnastics, Aussie. Give me a fluid theory, an actual theory from beginning to end. Just something, anything, to string together, to have some sort of theory on how and why all of these people that you consistently say are crooked, corrupt, lying, asshole murderers. Show me how and why that happens. Give me some theory. Because I have given you a theory. The Commonwealth has a theory. It came out convoluted. If you know how to look at evidence, you can see it. Michael Phelps, M.W. Phelps, is giving you truth. He has a reputation. He has built his reputation and has a professional career doing what he is doing in this case. He could have went with the conspiracy theory. He could have thrown his reputation to the wolves and made bank off it for a little while, because all you little assholes would be eating it up. Are you listening to it? Are you dismissing it just because you don't believe it, just because you don't want to believe it? Are you trying to weigh what he is saying? Because what he is saying is the truth. He will not risk his professional reputation to make a buck. And unless you fucking do your own research and can give me some proof that this man does not have the integrity that I have found that he has, or that Adam Lally doesn't, or that Michael Proctor has any other fucking blemish on his professional record, or any of these witnesses and people involved in this case, show me. Give me a fucking coherent theory. You can't, because all you can do is string together Little tiny fucking pieces of shit that don't make sense. But you know what? All that shit was fucking flushed out in the first trial. And if you refuse to see it, you won't see it. If you refuse to look, you will not find. Look, Aussie. Look. To anybody who has been listening, I apologize that I cannot see chat. I am on a phone. I literally just hopped on to do this, and it was supposed to be short, and now it's 5 hours later. Pretty typical for me. I'm passionate about this, obviously. I will read comments. Please leave a comment after I get done with this, because I literally have a migraine and need to lay down, so I cannot try to read this. I can't read this small print. But please leave a comment if you have questions. If you have honest thoughts and emotions and questions, I'm here for it. I will be a soft place to land for anybody that is coming out of the fog that is FKR, that doesn't want to face public scrutiny and doesn't want to go through the vitriolic hatred of social media and taking a stand. I will be here if you need to just fucking talk to somebody. But I need you to come at it with integrity and intellectual honesty. If you're going to come in my chat and just fucking call me names or call other people names, I don't want to hear it. Just stay out of my chat, because there's no reason for you to be in my chat. Zero. You're not going to get anything out of that except love and light, because that's what I spread. Truth and love and light. I am here for love. We are all here to love. That is the meaning of life. If you can't love your fellow humans, then I don't know. You need to work on something. When I am unable to love, there is a problem within me that I need to address, that only I can fix with the help of my spiritual being. But I need to do that, and that does not happen on social media. Thank you all for listening. For those of you that participated, thank you for participating. For all of you that will leave a comment, I appreciate it, and I will get back to you as soon as possible. I love you all. Please smile at everybody you see. Smiles are contagious. Hateful words are equally contagious. It's your choice. You have the freedom to choose. You are the only person that you are in charge of. You have the choice to make a different choice every second of every day. It is perfectly fine and very prudent to admit that you may have been wrong, to say that you have to, if you are wrong, own it. That is the mature, decent thing to do. Reassess. Constantly reassess where you are, who you are, what you believe in, why you believe in it. If you're not constantly assessing and constantly holding yourself to the same standard that you expect in others, then you have no business talking on whatever you're talking about. If you're not comparing your thoughts against people who think very differently from you, then you are not doing your cause any justice. Nobody with any emotional or intellectual intelligence wants to fucking live in an echo chamber. Nobody. I have no fucking need or desire for an echo chamber. I want to learn. I want to grow. And in order for me to learn and grow, I need to be able to be around people who've had different life experiences, who offer different perspectives, who feel and think differently than me. That is what my brain enjoys. That is what my spiritual being enjoys. It's not always fun. It's not always lovely. But it's good, and it's worth it. Come on, America and beyond. Do better, be better. Smile, hug, love. I send love and light to you all. Mwah. Love you. Good night.